Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 112 of the Super Civil Servants podcast. My name is Greg, the Bat Daddy 52, and tonight I am joined in a room filled with heroes. My homegirl Sarah, my dude Ross. We're here to talk about a lot of stuff going on. We've had finale, premiere, and then yet another finale in the last 4 weeks. So it's been kind of interesting, but there's a lot of stuff coming up in the future slate that we are really excited about that we're going to talk about this evening. So, how are y'all doing tonight?
So excited. The week's over. I hate to
Yes.
say us like I live
Welcome
for
back.
Fridays, but yeah, I know,
Yes,
right?
welcome back. Yes. Yeah, the week
Yes.
being over is always a great feeling. Fridays, it's fun to get there because it's either half the Fridays that I get to or payday. So that's what makes it even better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've missed you guys, so
Yeah.
I'm
You've
back.
definitely been missed. That's for sure. But all right. Well, like I said, we got the regular shows we're going to talk about tonight. We had Stargirl wrapping up. We're going to talk about Doom Patrol's Penultimate, and then we started Prodigy last week, so we're going to continue on with that show, which is pretty fun so far. But before we get there, we'll talk a little news, and then we'll go into some trailers and some stuff we're excited about, and we'll just finish up with that. So, Ross, you had just two little things, right? You were going to bring up.
We got the trailers, but beyond that, we had one bit of Star Wars news, which was the little Matt Smith coming out and basically talking about how he was going to play the son and on the episode 9 version that he was going to be a part of, and that he got almost all the way up to the point where he's going to film.
The
I don't know if you remember,
like from the Mortis
trilogy.
trilogy. Okay, yeah, I got that reference. Hey,
Ah!
I understood that reference. Awesome. So.
But things were always so messy the whole entire time that who knows what was going to come of it. It could have been, the worst rendition possible. So people can always say things after the fact.
Right. Man, I'm not gonna lie, man. The Mortis trilogy would in the Clone Wars would be an awesome movie. You could make some really cool movies. That's a very memorable set of episodes for me, just because I remember exactly what you're talking about. I remember the characters, I remember the name of the show. Like that part of it, I feel like should be a movie. Yep.
I called it trilogy. Clearly, I want it to be a movie.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's just rumored stuff anyway, right? We're not talking about any kind of actual solid news.
That was what he said in an interview. I mean, basically, enough time has passed. So he was originally built to be part of that.
Okay.
And they completely changed everything. I mean, by the time they swung JJ in as a director and everything else that was constantly revolving around episode 9. So, I mean, you can say rumor, but I mean, he was essentially cast for a role that just never came to light.
Right.
So it's not so much as rumory as a bunch of the other stuff that I read this week, but it is an actor saying something that never actually made the screen. So who knows? You can call it a rumor.
Never happens, right? Never happens. So, yeah, rumor stuff is kind of weird. It's fun to talk about sometimes. It's hard to kind of put any kind of value into or belief into until you start to see something more solid about it. But you can have hopes. I mean, I guess there's always people that really hope for whatever rumor comes out there is true. So,
well, if there's a 4-letter word that Star Wars is involved with, it could be Star or Wars or hope.
Fair point.
Good point.
Fair point. All right. What was the other bit of news?
Just to say a little something about the MCU, Eternals movie coming out today. I mean, that thing has gotten so much bad hype, but I don't know. I mean, everything that I've heard and read so far, because I haven't been very spoilery, it's been really good. Even though everyone's like, it's the worst Rotten Tomato score out of any MCU movie.
Fuck Rotten Tomatoes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fuck
Absolutely.
Rotten Tomatoes, for real. Like all their shit is just such bullshit, man. They always give such horrible reviews on movies that I absolutely love, and then honestly, and I'm saying I love, but usually the fan score is way better than the Rotten Tomatoes score. Anyway, I don't know what those guys are thinking. Like it's fucking stupid. They're getting paid. That's what it is. They're getting paid to say certain things. That's all it is. It's manipulation.
Well, there's so much bad news. I mean, I know that this happens with everything. We talk about it all the time, but I mean, there's so much bad news coming out before this thing ever hits like a theater screen beyond a press screening.
Mm.
And I mean, even with the press screeners, everyone basically came out and gave honest reviews. I mean, nothing was really scathing. It was basically just telling you, like, prepare yourself for this. It's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I have been seeing and reading interviews and stories from all the like various types of cast members that they have on this thing. And I mean, like, this movie feels a lot grander. And I think that's something that I keep thinking is weird for the MCU. 'Cause, I
Mhm.
mean, even though if you have Infinity War and Endgame, I mean they're big movies. They told a fantastic story to wrap up the Infinity Saga, but this movie itself feels so grand. It's just I don't know, just grandiose in scale. I mean,
Well,
Oh, I can't wait.
in all reality, this movie was happening all in the background, not happening, but these characters were all in the background of what was going on in the Infinity War. So I mean, realistically, they're bigger than all that. It's like the next step up. Honestly, it feels like what's the place on the Loki show?
Oh,
I
the
can't.
the TV,
the TVA.
TVA,
TVA.
yeah, it feels like that. It's just a step past that. So that's what they've done. They've gone. They brought you to a point where you felt like that was as far as you can go, and then they're gonna be like, nah, you can go further. Here we go. I'm
Well,
sure that
honestly,
they're
I'm
gonna go
ready for a
further.
new story from Marvel. I mean, because
Yeah.
the MCU. I mean, that's all you focused on was that particular 10, 11 years, and now okay, I want something fresh. Let's get something new,
Mhm.
and I can't wait. I mean, I'm tomorrow morning we're gonna sit down and it's gonna be on.
That's right.
Hopefully,
You
them
and the
kids will be
family.
quiet.
Yeah.
Y'all be quiet. We gotta watch. But yeah, I'm
Yep.
really looking forward to it. I mean, it just looks even like the trailers and everything. You're just like, whoa, this is gonna be something cool. This is gonna be something cool.
It has constantly been plagued with the where were these people, and like
Give them a
how can
chance
you
to
do
answer,
this?
though. Give them a chance to
Hindsight
Right?
answer.
Yeah.
2020.
Give them a chance to
How
answer, and then
all
Exactly.
of
then
this
I'll judge.
stuff comes from comic books. You could
Right.
ask that question during any single run of any single everything.
Mhm.
And I mean, like, you're going to come back to the same exact thing, which is like, well, they were unavailable. I mean, take it for what you will. But I mean, sometimes the answer for that unavailability is either good or bad. But either way, you have to accept it in order to move on and be, caught up in the story they're actually trying to tell. So,
Well, it's just like what if with the Watcher? It was like that was his part of his thing to stay out of it. I mean, because what if? Hey, we could go ahead and take Thanos out. We could have just taken care of it all over, but like I said, that's part of the story. So just gotta let it evolve.
you just watch them. That's weird.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. The trailer looks great. I know nothing about the Eternals. I'm excited to get back into some MCU again. It feels like it's forever since I've really, really like been super excited for some MCU. I've seen some great MCU stuff. I'm not saying that, but like something that I've been really excited for. And I watched this. I'm like, oh, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for Shang-Chi as well. It looks really good.
Next week.
Yes, yes. I'll tell you what though, there was one. It's so funny how emotions and people's opinions work because I was on Twitter the other day and I was looking at some people talking about the Eternals and they were talking about it's such garbage and this and that. It brings in way too many characters and I can't remember exactly everything it said, but the final part was it reminded me of BVS. It was just too much all in one, and I was like, So it reminds you of my favorite movie. Okay, maybe I'll enjoy this movie. So I'm more excited for it now. Like I was like, okay, cool. Maybe you don't like BVS, but I did, and if it reminds you of that, I'm cool with that. I like BVS, so it made me a little more excited for the movie. It's funny how somebody that I don't
That's
even
why I
know
sent you that text.
opinion. Yeah, was that you that sent me that? Okay, I couldn't remember where I saw that. Yeah.
Someone's saying this is related to BVS. You're gonna love this movie.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, it's whatever. I don't know. I was originally going to go to a Comic-Con with my daughters this weekend because they both got straight A's on their report cards, which is
Yay,
fantastic.
congratulations.
Yes,
Yay.
yes, awesome. And I wanted to reward them, and they both wanted to go to this con this weekend, and it's in Charlotte, and we were going to go, but it turns out that my goddaughter has a birthday party Saturday night, and we would have to leave at like 7:00 in the morning to get down to the con. So we're not going to go this weekend, but maybe I'll see if they want to go see Eternals Sunday. That would be something fun to go do.
Yes,
We haven't been to the movies in quite a long time. I know it's a movie they would enjoy, and feel like I'm gonna do. My wife actually asked me about it the other day. She saw a preview on TV. She said, "Why aren't we going to go see that one?" I kind of tilted my head up. I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Well, we could. I don't know if it's something you could pay to see here, but if it is, it's probably gonna be like $40, or we could go to the movies and see it." And she was like, "Yeah, well, we might have to talk about doing that." And I was like, well, "Okay." So
yeah,
maybe
That's when you just unroll the scroll of movies that here's a whole list of movies.
Right. Look, that's what's called free time. Okay, you get free time. All right, which is just time that you just randomly get for free to do whatever you want to do. Then there's time that is given to you. It's free time. You don't have to worry about that. That's free time. That was given to me. So if she wants to go see this movie, that's free time. It's family bonding. We'll go see the Eternals.
Let me know if you want me to talk her into it.
I will definitely.
Let me know.
But yeah, like I said, I haven't seen a whole lot of reviews. I've seen a couple of bad ones. I haven't seen a whole lot of good ones, and I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes, so fuck those guys. I'll
I
make
tried to
my own
stay. I
opinion
tried
on
to
it.
Trust
stay out of
reviews.
it. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind spoilers, but for this one, I just wanted to go in with a clean slate. I mean, I was just like, yeah, I don't really want to know. Let me. I want to make my own, determination on it. So.
Well, that's the good thing about not knowing anything about it is even
Mhm.
if I read something that was a spoiler, I probably wouldn't know what the fuck they were talking about, and I probably wouldn't remember it. You know.
So people on Reddit always do the spoilers without context, and so
Brian hits those all the time. He's
Really?
like,
I
"Damn
love
it,
them.
I saw
Yeah.
this."
they'll show you pictures of like random things, like like this. Like I know that they had like the DC logo because like apparently they mentioned Superman, which is it's no spoiler, but it's just the first time that like it kind of gets brought up. Like they actually say the name. No one knows like what context it's in until you've actually seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they do that all the time, and they keep throwing up all these little bits and pieces up in front of you, and it's just for you to be like, I don't know what that means. But then when you're watching the movie, it's fun because you connect all the dots,
Right.
and you're like, yes, like it makes sense. It's just a funny thing to be a part of.
I need to get into Reddit because apparently it's where it's at. Everybody is
Dude,
all
you will
about
get
Reddit
so
now.
lost
Yeah,
in
I feel
that. Oh
old.
my
Oh, I
gosh.
know it's a rabbit hole. I'm sure. Like
I
every
don't.
other,
That's
it's
one of
another
the
form of
first
social
ones.
media.
Short.
Yeah, it's another form of social media. So just watch out. There's going to be people who want to fight with you.
But there's been
So
like some
Don't-
really cool comments too.
don't engage.
So,
Don't engage. I know. I've learned from Twitter is don't engage. So
I keep like, in all honesty, probably 6 things that I follow. And it's just for like, so like trailers drop in my lap and I don't have to go searching for them. I keep up on like Marvel and DC news, but I mean, half the time it's just scrolling through. And really, it's just one of those things like whenever you're working for like an hour and a half, 2 hours straight, and you're like, I haven't looked away from the screen. And you're like, I need to do something else. And you pull out the other screen and start looking at it.
yeah. Dude,
But no, I mean, like just give yourself enough to get your toes wet and then back off the rest of it.
Dude, the algorithms on my phone through Google and the internet will not allow me not to see a new or like not to get an alert that a new trailer's out or that the Panthers have made a trade or something like that. Like I'm gonna get that's all I ever get: stocks, Panthers, Lakers, and comics. News. That's all. It's just
Do what I
alerts
did and try
all
to
day
get
long.
Google out of your life.
Yeah, I want to. I really want to.
I hold on to a Gmail address. That's the only thing that I have left for Google.
What do you use? Bing?
DuckDuckGo, baby.
Ask Jeeves. You remember that? Ask Jeeves.
Yeah. Fucker's still not dead yet.
No, you can actually still ask Jeeves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do it tomorrow at work.
It
I
went
use
down
Bing
for a
at
while,
work.
but I think it's still back up.
I use Bing at work to search for addresses. Like when I have to look at like geolocations because I just don't know why it works the best. So I use Bing for that.
Windows
So I'm gonna start using
employees
that
don't
too.
even use Bing.
Hey, it says map with Bing when I right click, so I just go with that and it
Mm.
works. So, all right, well, let's get back on track here. That's all the news. We do have some interesting trailers this week. Let's start out with the one that most of us know nothing about and just get The Witcher out of the way. I have not watched season 1. I've watched a little bit of the first episode, really enjoyed it, but just never been able to get back to it. There's so much stuff to watch, and it's just it doesn't like I was saying before we started the show. It doesn't ever cross my like timeline or my shows of like, hey, you like this, so check this out. Like The Witcher's never on there. Not saying that I wouldn't like it, but because of that, I probably found something they suggest for me that I'm going to try just before I go searching anything anywhere else. But the trailer looks awesome. This is a show that I feel like I really need to watch, and actually somebody picked on me at work the other day for not having seen it. So I mean, I guess I need to, And Ross, you kind of put your nose down at us whenever we said we hadn't seen it either. So, but you
The
have
only
seen
reason
it.
I know what's going on is because I follow Henry Cavill on TikTok. That's about the only.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, honestly, I should be watching it because it's got Henry Cavill in it, and I love that guy. So I
And
should
it
be
had
watching it.
So
a
damn
top
massive.
100 Billboard song. I mean, like that toss a coin to your Witcher song like was everywhere when this came out. I'm going to talk about it, and
Do
you
it.
guys can go on your phones on Netflix and go ahead and add it to your watch list. That way, you make sure that you don't forget it. We got during the Netflix's Dumb event. We got the bits and pieces of trailers, and so we got some behind the scenes stuff. And basically, what it was it didn't look like they had cut a trailer together yet. They had given you a better part of an understanding where the second season was going to go. I'm not going to talk about the first season because you should watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But the second season picks up pretty well. It continues the story. It does not look like it does anything off the wall to change what they did in season one. The action, I mean, the fact that, dude, the monsters that they're bringing in this one, the sword movements that he's using. I mean, like they had that one scene to where he's just like staring off or like, blindly staring into what's going on in front of him. And then just like out of nowhere, just like whips the sword around all whippy-doo crazy and stabs was it the giant bat? I believe that was behind him. And
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
the show is great. The show doesn't have like bad parts to it. Like there's nothing like the CG, the monsters, the theory, the story, like I've never played the video game. Once again, not a gamer.
I didn't know there was
but
a video game. Yeah.
multiple.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
this is a great show. And I can't tell you it comes out, I believe, the 17th of December.
Yes.
But I believe last time it came out right before Christmas too. And that's always a good time for me to sit down and like get a show in real fast because I normally have like a little bit of dead time. I mean, always are busy, clearly, but there's always like that nighttime. I don't have to worry about doing projects and stuff like that during those couple of weeks. So binge directly through this thing. And like I said, when we were doing the comic review a couple of weeks ago, like first thing I thought about was pulling Witcher vibes. I mean, that comic book basically picked right up on that same kind of tone that The Witcher gave off when you watched it.
Yeah.
So it looks interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I think it's the 17th. I'll double check it real fast, but
Yes, it is.
Yeah, 20th is what I got.
Oh.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody say anything bad about The Witcher, so I know it's got to be something that's got to be, that I'm not going to hate. I mean, it may not be something I love, but it may be something. But I have a pretty good feeling if I watch it, I'm going to love it. I did notice in the trailer because I rewatched all these trailers again, right before the show, and I'd watched the episodes that we're going to cover of Stargirl and Doom Patrol earlier, and I was like, man, how does one studio put out this kind of like choreography with fighting and graphics, and the same studio puts out this based on what I've seen this week, and we're going to talk about it when the show's come on. But I was like, holy crap, what a difference! I honestly, I feel really dumb. I'm a collector. I like having things. Like I like things that I can hold and I can show people. I wore my War Machine mask into the grocery store the other day, and it's so funny people's reactions because I think it's fun. I'm wearing a mask in the store. I'm following the rules, and it makes some kids' days. It was on Halloween. It was Sunday morning. I had to go to the grocery store getting stuff to make breakfast, and it was making some kids' days to see the mask. But some people are so funny, like how they scoff at you and everything. There's one guy, I have the mask on, and I can clearly see it's a War Machine mask. You have to be able to see, otherwise you can't fight, which you can't really see that well out of it. But so. This guy's walking by me and I can see him and he kind of rolls his eyes and scoffs at me as he's walking by me when he sees the helmet. And he's wearing a fucking Gumby shirt. So the coolest thing about this helmet is I can take the mask off and it makes the machine noises and I can attach it to here and it's got a magnet so it attaches really quickly. So I can just take it off real quick. And as I was walking by, like right before I got to him, I took it off and so he made sure the noises. And I was like, nice shirt. And then I put it back down and I kept walking. It's just so funny what people will do, man. I'm like, come on, dude. Seriously, you're wearing a fucking Gumby shirt and you're going to scoff at me for wearing a War Machine helmet in the store. But anyway, I digress. I feel bad because I now want to watch Witcher season 1 even more just because I want that fucking sword hanging on my wall right about there. See where I'm pointing? I want that sword right there. I saw that and I was like, oh, I must have it. I must have it.
Yep.
That or the one from Lord of the Rings.
I've always been a knife guy. And I mean, you watch all these shows that we watch. I mean, Game of Thrones, you're like, I want all of those swords. Yeah. Like, I want a wall. Like, I mean, I'm a lightsaber guy. I want lightsabers.
You have a wall of lightsabers, do you not?
No.
Oh, I thought you showed me a picture of a wall of lightsabers one time.
Oh, I send you lightsaber porn all the time.
That's right, yeah. That's like porn for us. It's lightsaber.
Well, I do have, a collection of lightsabers myself, so.
There you go.
And I want more.
Nothing wrong with having a couple of lights. I want a Schwartz, like from Spaceballs. So that's what I want. Oh, that's what I should buy next. One of those rings. Yes, I should do it. Yeah. Anyway, Witcher, man, it looks really, really good. You know, I would love to try to say that I would love to say that I'm gonna catch up on season 1 before season 2, and but it's a pretty fat chance. I mean, I'll try. Here's the thing: if I can get my wife interested in it, if like I can turn it on and she's like starting to watch it and she's really interested in it, then it'll be watched the next 3 days, the whole series. Okay, because that's all the deal.
Especially when she sees Cavill with his shirt off.
And I'm, you know what? That's probably a pretty good selling point, to be truly honest with you. That's probably
Nothing
a pretty
wrong
good
with
selling point.
that.
She's going to be with me. So that's right. So go ahead, Cavill, do have my job for me. So
how do your muscles have muscles? I don't understand it.
But yeah, Witcher season 2 looks really, really good. Would love to go back and see season 1. Hopefully, I'll be able to get a little bit in. I've got a few weeks to do it, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, do it. I say that with every show that we talk about, though. All right, 2 more trailers. Let's go in order of least excited for and most excited for. At least for me, that's what I'm going to go in. Ooh. And I'm excited for both of these. So I'm not really talking shit, but the last one I'm more excited for. Let's talk about the Morbius trailer. I've been excited for this one since I heard about it. I like Jared Leto as an actor. I think that he looks the role perfect. It's a character that I love from the Spider-Man animated series when I was younger, and that I've actually rewatched and covered once again on Superhero Discussions with Travis Hines. Just check that out; it's a pretty fun time. But I like the character, and I like the idea of the show, or excuse me, the movie Morbius. You know, what I saw, I was really impressed with. Coming from somebody who still has yet to see either of the Venom movies, even though I love Venom as a character, I just haven't seen those movies. This universe looks like something that I could really enjoy. I think I need to sit down one day and just, I guess all that's out right now is the 2 Venom movies, but maybe when this movie comes out, watch all of them together. I'm not sure, but I really, really am looking forward to this Morbius movie. Sarah, what do you think? Are you a Morbius fan? Because I think he's kind of a character you either love him or you hate him.
Well, I mean, I had heard of him, but I mean, I didn't really know too much about, the background. A movie like this is just when I saw the first teaser trailer, I was just like, oh, well, this looks pretty damn interesting. So, I mean, I did a little research to find out who Morbius was. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've heard of this guy. Or, I've heard of him, through the animated stuff. And then I was kind of, watching it. And, with Jared Leto, I mean, he always, no matter how odd his role may be, dude always gives like 110%. I mean, it might be off the wall, it might be whatever, but I think this is going to be really cool. And, that's just one of those movies where I want to be surprised. I don't want to read too much into it. Just watch the trailers and be done with it. Mm. I did see something somewhere where, I guess it was Twitter, where they were talking about he's not going to have the suction cups on his hands like the animated. Because I guess for the animated, they wasn't allowed to, show a lot of blood and, him biting people or, whatever. So
well, he drained plasma in the animated series.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I think that's going to be really interesting because it's, I mean, it's like Man-Bat, basically. It's like a, vampire, that kind of thing. So I think it's going to be really cool. I just like the storyline. It looks like it's, with him being the doctor and, trying to find, helping others and trying to find a cure. And all. That's going to be a really interesting storyline too. So I'm really curious to see how this one rolls.
Well, it's funny you should say that about Man-Bat, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe that in the Man-Bat like little run in the Spider-Man the animated series, Morbius plays a big role in that, helping convert Spider-Man back from Man-Bat back to Spider-Man, back to Peter Parker. So yeah, I'm interested to see if they're going to introduce a Felicia, or like it'd be cool to see Black Cat. I know they were talking about a Sable and Black Cat movie, which would be pretty cool. So maybe they use this movie to introduce her, because she's the love interest for Michael Morbius. So maybe, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Ross, what do you think, man? Are you excited for this one?
I didn't know what to expect. And I don't know if it was because of Jared or if it was because of like a whole bunch of, maybe the timing. Because I mean, like, I think the first thing that I saw was, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first pictures I saw came out around the time COVID started. And so like everything else is already up in the wind, and you're like, I don't want to have time for this. Like, I'm not worried about this right now.
Because it's never going to get released.
Yeah. I mean, we're just going to see like a whole string of like you know how like during every award show they have like, you know, the wall memorandum of like the people that went down, like, you know, we're going to have the COVID movies that went down, like, you know,
Right.
that never came to light. But there was something about it that was, I think I wasn't sold on him as the character, and I do like, kind of like with, you know, Sparkle Bat. I'm not sure, you know, sometimes I need something, and when I got the trailer, I was like, no, I'm on. Like he's pulling it off. Like I said, I'd need him as to be a Bruce Wayne. I need this character. I need Jared to show me what he's going to do. And I mean, you know, the guy puts so much of himself into all of his characters. So I'm interested to see what he's going to do.
And he's super fit once again.
Yeah,
He stays that way. Yeah, he's got to.
I mean, at one point he looks like someone's, you know, sucking all his blood out, and the next point it looks like he got a straight up like rock transfusion or something.
He's been working with Cavill.
Yeah.
Cody's in the show. What's up, Cody? How you doing,
Hey,
buddy?
Cody.
What up?
Yeah, you know, honestly, damn it, I forgot what I was going to say about this character because I had something right there on the tip of my tongue with Morbius. He's just I can't remember what I was going to say. See, this is why usually whenever I have first thing I wanted to mention, this is one thing. It wasn't it, but this is one thing. We got to decide right now. Is it Leto or Leto? I got to know. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know what it is.
Is it Leto?
I thought it was Leto, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either. We'll go with Leto.
I guess it depends on what character he is because, you know, he's such a method character that he just like kind of absorbs it. So he's probably been Morbius for a while. I don't know.
I've seen the pictures this week that was, you know, the picture of him as the Joker. And it's like you live long enough to see yourself die as the Joker and then to come back as, you know, Man-Bat.
Yeah.
I saw another picture of it and it was they were making fun of the Smashing Pumpkins song. And it's like, he's not a bullet with butterfly wings. He's a chode with bat wings. I can't like all sorts of weird shit floating around. Oh yeah.
95, 5th grade, baby. I remember it. I remember what I was gonna say. No, I actually wrote it down as soon as I remembered it. I'm interested to see how they portray this character in this movie because Michael Morbius is not a bad guy. Mm-hmm. And realistically, Morbius is not a bad guy. You know, he just has a thirst for what we've known as plasma in the animated series to be blood now. So he's not a bad guy. So I want to see how they run with this character because they've been running with the venom of more of the anti-hero, which he is, you know, I mean, he's not totally villainous in all his portrayals, but, I'm interested to see what's going on with this because they're definitely joining this with the MCU.
Dude, all the stuff in this trailer was, I mean, it was jam-packed. Sarah, you said on the list. I mean, like everyone's done their full rundown on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a Hulk story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, a scientist who needs something, who's trying to do something else and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like at the end of the day, like it's a completely different story based on the persona of the character. So
Cody says he always pronounces it Leto. So I'm assuming that's what he's saying, Leto, like spaghetti-o there. So yeah.
I would have gone with Lego or Ego.
Let go. Yeah. It's I think it was cool to see Keaton at the end. You know, I mean, obviously, you know, we already know that it's going to happen, but it was cool they threw that little piece in there for somebody who's just a general audience or doesn't follow this stuff very much. I'm sure if they made that connection, they thought it was pretty cool because they may have no idea about this merger. But how do y'all think this is going to play out? Like seriously, like I don't see these characters being in MCU movies.
I think they're teasing us hardcore with with the door that has opened with things like Loki. You know, like we are now in like this such like a gray area of just static to where we get certain shows like, you know, we got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I mean, we're getting Hawkeye, and I don't think they're really going to be, you know, anywhere near the level like some of this other stuff. But I think what it's doing with all of this crazy madness is that it's also allowing Sony to kind of do all of this offshoot stuff, and it's working out in everyone's favor. So, I mean, assuming that everything sells and we get, you know, tickets the way that we, you know, that they hope that they get, I think that they are playing perfectly into a well-designed plan is what it feels like.
Yeah. So let me ask you: if you go in to go see this movie, okay, and you get to see the ending scene with, or not, I don't even know if it's the ending scene, the end of the trailer scene, you see the scene with Michael Keaton, and it's described as a different universe in the multiverse, and Michael Keaton is not Vulture, or he's Vulture, but he's a different Vulture. Are you okay with that?
I think you're going to have to be.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we are going to have to, whether you like it or not. You're right. You're going to have
Right.
to be. That's true.
But I think that you're going to have to be in order to accept some of the stuff that they're going to do. I don't think you have
I'm not
much
going
of
to
a
stop
choice.
watching Marvel.
Right.
So yeah. No, I get that.
You're going to get so many different things with, like I said, I'm in your shoes. Like I haven't seen the new Venom movie, but I know all the stuff. I know the end scene and everything else. And so I know what I think that they're really trying to do, which, everyone's saying also with the No Way Home trailer, like, is Doctor Strange the Doctor Strange that you are used to, or is it going to be another one? Are we going to get something like, are all of these characters going to be like in What If? Like, are we going to get like a major retelling or different branch off of all of these characters? I'm on board with it. At some point they're going to have to reconnect the dots, which I'm cool with. But
so let me ask you, if they do decide to go that direction where they're just going all kinds of different stories and basically throwing all rules out the window, we can say whatever we want to do because it's multiverse. Is that lazy writing or creative? Or can it be a little bit of both?
I think it's going to be like Infinity Saga time for you to figure that out. Maybe a phase. I hope it's a phase, because I feel like but also, like, they could do this, and if they do it really well, they could stretch it out to countless movies before they come back and come back together and weave it all back together again. I've said it before on this show that I was worried they're going to go a little too crazy, but I trust them. So
yeah, the one
We've
thing
invested so much time. It's like, don't let us down.
right. That's another thing too, is I feel like I can't quit now. Like I'm in this 23. It feels like 23 years, 23 movies. I'm in this, and shows and countless stories. But it I don't know, man. It just feels like Marvel has trained me to not just Marvel, like these saga movies that have been so popular lately, the more than 2 or 3 movies have trained me to not get so upset about something I don't understand until I know it's not going to be explained for me, or until I like it's past and it's like, okay, there's no way you can explain that. You just went right by it. Like, let's not pretend you didn't say that or you didn't do that, but they did. And they've done a good job tying a lot of things back together. Once again, there's still a lot of questions. I think I don't fully understand time travel very much. I think whenever you just put the words time and travel into a sentence, I start to get confused. But
like the math meme, like, how much is all this equation stuff work?
But to be realistic, it's like I was telling my wife, time travel is like religion. There's no real answer. Nobody knows the real answer. You just got to kind of believe what you want to believe. So
God just flipped a switch and things went boom.
Right. I mean,
well, there's been so many iterations of it. I mean, it just depends on, which franchise or which, property you're going to listen to and just take whatever it is. I mean, it's
time travel is a religion.
Mark my words, the first time that time travel ever comes, like, next thing you know, the whole world is just going to click away. Like, oops, I think I did it wrong.
But you know what? We would never know. So it wouldn't even matter.
You're right.
We would never know. Well, I don't know. Based on what I know, we would never know. But I don't even know what would happen. Like I said,
can we have beaming technology first? Yeah. Can we just hold off on time travel? I need beaming technology first.
As long as our time traveling machines don't burrow themselves underground and come up from underground, then I'm cool. Okay, like that's
on casters.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, we're going to talk about that too. But yeah, the Morbius trailer, man. Back to what we were talking about. The Morbius trailer looks really good. I'm not as excited for this as I am the next trailer we're going to talk about, but I am really excited for this movie. I'm sure as it gets closer to it, I hear a little more news about it and probably see at least one more trailer for it. I'll be a little more excited. And I always say this is one I'd like to go see in theaters, but I just never have the chance to go see a lot of movies in theaters anymore. I want to set aside time, but it's so hard. Adulting sucks. So, all right. Well, let's talk about this. Did y'all have anything else you want to say about the Morbius trailer? Sorry, I didn't mean to just start moving on.
When does it come out again? Oh, the end of January 28th.
Okay, so we're pretty close. All right. Well,
before Batman.
Yeah, which is really weird because we've heard a lot more about Batman than this. But once
I think it just goes to show, though.
Batman, Morbius, I get that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, Ross, walk us into the Boba Fett trailer because
How can you
you're
walk
my
it? You got to strut in, man.
you're my
that
Star
guy
Wars
came
dude.
straight out.
Yeah, you're my Star Wars dude.
Dude, I watched this trailer only like twice, and that's kind of because I've gotten to a point to where, just like with anything else, like I don't need to analyze it.
Mm-mm.
Show me something, put the bait in the water, hook me, and like let's just do something with it. When this trailer came out, I'd be right off the bat. I don't remember the little creature's name, the little spider creature, but I mean, people were posting pictures of toys that they sent away for in the mail, like back in like the 80s. I mean, everyone was like, Boba Fett, Boba Fett, Boba Fett. I
Everybody's
love the
always been
cinematography.
Boba Fett, Boba Fett, Boba Fett.
Yeah,
You know,
I
like
know. Dude, I had
I
to
had to
pull
really
out the wood
watch that
filler,
one to see
man.
what
I
I
was
was doing. Yeah.
poking holes in butcher block. It the view. I mean, everything to see Jabba's palace, to see every little bit that they show, the Sand People, all of the extras and characters. I mean, all of the aliens and everything in it. Just it's what you want. I think they took Mandalorian, and this is like Mandalorian tangent, and it's going to tell its own little like off the cuff to the side story, which I think is appropriate because I mean, people want a Boba Fett story. No one knows what they want from a Boba Fett story. People
Right.
only say, "I
Right.
want a Boba Fett story," and they're like, "That's cool," Like, I want to go to the grocery store. Cool. What do you want? I don't know. I just want to go.
Not sure yet. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. It looks fantastic. I'm gonna watch the shit out of it.
Oh yeah.
And
I want to watch its
the
ass off.
Mandalorian. Yeah, the Mandalorian changed Star Wars and changed. I mean, to be a streaming show to come out. God damn. I mean, it was the moment that you saw that, and you're like, they're gonna make how many more of these shows? Really? Oh, okay. I don't need a movie. Give me a series. Let me watch the whole entire thing, dude. I'll gain 100 pounds and sit on my couch. I don't care.
Do you know if the guy who does the music for Mandalorian is doing the music for this show, the score?
Actually, no, I do not know.
Man, I hope so. Because I'm not gonna lie, man, that's one of the absolute best hooks for Mandalorian. It's got
Ludwig is
badass.
fantastic.
Yes,
or Ludwig, however you want to say his name. But yes,
fantastic.
Did you ever go on Disney Plus and watch
Yes,
that behind
I
the
did.
scene? Okay,
Oh yeah,
dude.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh,
Yeah, we covered it. on
him
the show, I
sitting there
think.
with that recorder. I think I told you to go watch it. I don't know if you did, but I mean that behind the scenes thing for him alone, that one episode was just like
Awesome. The way he
Dude,
makes some of his music is amazing. Yeah.
yeah. I could be, baked to the wind and just sit back and just be like, huh, play more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, that's one of those ones you can make a alert sound or a ringtone for your phone if you have a Samsung. That is not if you have an iPhone. So, but
I can totally do it.
Okay, so whenever I heard about this coming out, of course, like you said, everybody wants a Boba Fett show. I just don't know what I want in a Boba Fett show. When I first heard of it, and of course after Mandalorian, and I love Mandalorian so much, I was afraid of a rehash. I was afraid it would be too similar. And
Just
when I watched,
spinning.
when I watch the trailers, I get Mandalorian vibes, but it feels like it's going to be a different story. And honestly, I feel like part of that is him taking his helmet off.
Mm-hmm.
And to be truly honest with you, him taking his helmet off just changes it up. It is a different character, but it feels like a different character. My question is, will these stories cross over? Like, will you see Mando in Boba Fett story? Will you see Boba Fett in Mandalorian story? Will you see Ahsoka in some of these stories? Like are any of these things going to cross over? Or we're going to see him again. Of course, we've already seen Ahsoka and Mando. I think about it. So we've already seen Boba Fett and Mando. I just mean, will it happen again? Will you see Mando in some of these other shows? What I'm more or less meaning.
You mean, are they going to pull a CW and do a crossover event?
Yeah, basically. Are they going to CW the shit out of this?
Here's the trick: is that they put them all in the same time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Fennec Shand before we got Boba Fett. She was the whole reason why that kind of mixed in. And then we got her put back into Bad Batch, the animated show.
Mm-hmm.
Could it happen? Sure. Does it need to? No. But I mean, like, who's to say it? I think what they're really doing is they're telling the Boba Fett story to where it's like, I want to be the new leader, and I don't want to be like, I don't want to be a fat blob who makes everyone a slave. I want to turn around and create something here. I want to to steal a term that isn't going very far. I want to build back better. And at the same time, I think you're
Might
going to
not
get a
work.
good show.
Yeah. Might not work, but yeah. No, I get it. When I watched the trailer, I kind of got the vibe of like I guess he's basically going back to all the heads that were under Jabba, like the next guys in line for Jabba,
The capos.
which under are still together for some reason. Because isn't this years after Jabba's died?
Well, it's supposed to be.
No, I guess it's not technically that long after he died.
I believe it's 6 years after Return of the Jedi is what I heard initially when Mandalorian first came out. So this would be, depending on how much time frame or how much time has passed in the Mandalorian, which doesn't seem like a whole lot has. It's that frame, just about less than a decade.
But if they killed Jabba, wouldn't they have to worry about Zero? Or did he die in Clone Wars? I can't remember. Oh my God, Zero!
I don't need that damn voice.
No.
I don't need any of that.
No, I don't need that.
It's just
worm
for the birds.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, it'd be cool to see that. But yeah, that was kind of the vibe I got, or not the vibe. That's what it looked like it was coming from me. Is he's just basically trying to take over, be the head of this group that Jabba ruled. He's basically taking Jabba's place,
And they make him look badass. They make him kick ass.
Yeah, they do.
And that's what everyone needed, because that's what everyone imagine in their brains. I've never been like a hard Boba Fett fan, but I'm glad that they're making him look badass. I mean, you have to. Why else would you make a show?
Right. I have a Mandalorian helmet. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, every second I put it on my head, I feel more badass. And of all the Star Wars helmets and any other helmet that I have, you can see out of that one better than anything. They did it right. Those guys would win any fight.
Funny.
Those guys would win any fight. You can see really well out of those helmets. So,
did you see the fan made Grogu Mandalorian armor?
No.
I'll send you guys that in the group chat. It's pretty wicked.
Well, I will say the armor helmet, you've got pretty good vision in that as well. So,
okay,
because that might be a list of one I could put on my list for like cosplay, that kind of thing. Don't want it to be too hard to pull together.
I gotta figure out what I want to do. I'm not gonna lie, man. Unless you want to do like a full blown stormtrooper or specific outfit, Star Wars is generally one of the easiest cosplays to do. It's usually just a robe and a wig and a lightsaber.
Yep.
So it's
or you can walk down the street as a Sith Lord and everybody thinks you're a Jedi.
Well, my problem is I'm always a mailman or a soldier. Something I already have a uniform for. So it's just like I just throw that on. Hey, look. I don't know. Sometimes I don't even change on Halloween. When I get off work, I just keep my mail uniform on, and go deliver. Or go. I go deliver mail, and then I go take candy. So,
does anyone ever be like, "Man, you're devoted"?
Of course. All right. Was there anything else about this Boba Fett trailer you want to talk about? I mean, this is the most movie level viewing the Mandalorian series and what looks like going to be the Boba Fett series that I've seen on television. It feels like watching a movie. It looks like watching a movie. It's that quality, that good. I'm hoping that Boba Fett, the Book of Boba, continues that, and I'm sure they will because it's fucking Disney. They bat 99.998. They rarely have a
Disney
miss.
loves money, man.
So,
they're just gonna print.
They do love money. They got that Infinity Gauntlet with every studio ever made, just about in there. So they just got
reality is what I make it.
That's right. But now I'm really excited for Boba Fett, man. It's gonna be a really fun show. When does this happen, Ross? Is the December 29th?
This is it's the end of the year. 29th.
Is it weekly?
Yeah, it's gonna most likely be a weekly. Everything they're doing right now is weekly.
They want it to be a
I'm assuming 29th is a Wednesday, and I don't even have to look at a calendar because that's how predictable Disney is.
And you would be correct.
Yeah.
You would be correct.
Oh, there you go. So Wednesday the 29th, we'll get to see some Mandalorian. What was you like? Yeah, Boba Fett. You may
taking down those Christmas lights. You get tired. You can just go right ahead.
Dude,
of course, I mean it's before the first. I know.
They don't come down till the Valentine's Day stuff starts going. Come on, man.
Fuck me.
Come on. Or whenever Ashley takes them down. I'm not sure.
So, she just has to.
No, I set it up perfectly actually. Because the cool thing about these holidays, Squirrel here. cool thing about these holidays is like Thanksgiving and Halloween. You can basically decorate for Thanksgiving underneath Halloween, and then when Halloween's done, just take the jack-o'-lanterns and the skeletons and the bats off the wall, and you've got Thanksgiving decorations. So I was like, that's double right there. You don't have to decorate for 2 months, basically. You just got to
you're
put
not
some stuff
wrong.
down. Yeah, works out perfect. Somebody thought about that. I'm telling you, they planned that out.
Just take it as your idea. Just run with it, man. So here's what I do.
I don't have ideas. But
you have ideas about time travel.
bad ones. Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, that's all the trailers. That's all the news. We got some shows this week. What do y'all want to start with? Sarah, I'm going to throw it to you since you have not been here in 2 weeks. I want to hear. Actually, you know what? Before we get into shows, I personally have heard your thoughts, but I want everybody else to hear your thoughts on Dune. Just real quick.
On what? On Dune?
Yeah. I know it's been like 2 weeks.
Actually, you're going to need your thoughts on everything.
Yeah. So give me Dune first.
I thought Dune was really cool. I mean, it was very theatrical. Now, granted, I watched it in my living room. Brian took the boy to go see it in the theater, and they came back and they just absolutely loved it. I love how they're setting it up for the second movie, because I know there was a lot of things in there where you're like, okay, I see where you're starting here, and I see where you're going. So I think I like that better, because I mean, and I know it took like a few days for them to announce for the second movie, but I'm like, hello, there's gonna be a second movie. I mean,
they wanted to see if they were going to make money off it, though.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that was a really lazy move. I mean, you got to have confidence at some point.
Well, and the thing about it too, it would have been nice if they had filmed both movies simultaneously. And so now, it's going to be like another couple years before we see it.
2023, I think, is the release date.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm just like, really? You knew there was going to be another damn movie. I don't know, whatever. But I mean, I thought it was really cool, and even because I had already heard a lot of folks that liked it was talking about the runtime, that it didn't seem as long as it was, and honestly, I felt the same way too. Now, there might have been a couple of moments where I'm like, okay, kind of going a little over the edge. But for Jessica, what was that movie? Well, Reminiscence that she was in with Hugh Jackman. She really wasn't my favorite actress.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't know. I had talked to Katie about this, and Katie's like, oh, I love her. I'm like, me, not so much. So, I mean, I think there might have been a little overacting in some sequences, but for the most part, I mean, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, I thought it was an awesome, like sci-fi, that kind of thing. I'm trying to remember if I had watched the original one with Sting. I know I saw bits and pieces, because I just remember, there were certain things like with the spice and with the blue eyes, all that kind of stuff. But I didn't really remember like the full plot line of it. Mm-hmm. So, watching it was kind of like a new thing. But when they do remakes like that, I try to keep an open mind. So hopefully, I can just take the film for what it is. There's no way I'm ever going to read that book, or at least that one book, because it's like this. Actually in Barnes & Noble the other day, and I saw it and I said, no way.
But I bet you that book's selling like crazy right now.
Yeah, there's like a huge, and they had the hardbacks, they had the paperbacks. I mean, they had the, the large ones, and I actually thought about buying getting a copy, but I was like, I'm not going to read this. I mean, hell, I've read War and Peace. How I got through that, I couldn't tell you. So, for me, just trying to read, even some of the Star Trek, Star Trek and the Star Wars books, even the Thrawn trilogies, I'm like, shit, I ain't even got through those yet, and much less trying to read this. No, I'm just going to take the movie for what it is. But
audiobooks, I'm telling you, there you go.
I've tried. It just doesn't get me. But but I really enjoyed it. I mean, I think the thing that really sold me on it, like I said, was it was the lead in. It still felt like a movie unto itself, but you still had that little aftertaste of, okay, I can see where it's going. It's, let's lead into it. So I'm hoping, like, when you watch the second film, you're going to have to rewatch the first one, because it's going to be like 2 years later, but still,
That's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I feel like that's a movie I could probably rewatch. I mean, I don't think it's one I'm going to keep on, in the background or anything like that, but one that would, like one afternoon, just sit down and just if you want to watch a really cool, sci-fi flick. Because there's really not a lot of them out there.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it all depends on
sci-fi. How you categorize this one. Yeah, I guess
exactly.
Say,
so I mean, it just kind of depends on because it's very epic. I mean, that was like another word I'd probably, but because it's building this world, and it's almost kind of like in Star Trek terms. It's like you have the Federation and you have all these other worlds, but the way it's ruled, it's almost like. You kind of like take a my Star Wars, aspect to it, like especially reading the Throne books. You have like the outline, the outline worlds and all this, that, and other. But I don't know. I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I was pleasantly surprised.
Well, with all the like big, like long out movies, anything MCU's done, somewhat with DC's done, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Mighty Ducks, stuff like that. I had to throw that joke in there. There's always the thirst for more at the end of the movie that you want, like you want to know more about this world, about these universe, and you want to see the next story. And that's what this movie left you with, I feel. Like they definitely left me to a point where I'm like, okay, I've liked what I've seen so far. I want to see what's happening next. And they showed me new stuff at the end. I've got to know what happens. So they've sold me. They've already got my well, I'm an HBO Max subscriber, so I don't know if they'll be still doing the stream home movies first day then. But either way, you've got my money, for the next movie.
I only think because of knowing so much about the 84 version, it felt like such an abrupt end. Like I got to that point and I'm like, because I remember like all the stuff that happens. And once you get to that point, you're like,
right.
What just happened? Like, did my internet cut out? Why are there credits? So I think that feeling was just one of those things where you just had to come to terms with it.
That's why I'm not watching the old movie, because I don't want to have that feeling right there, and I don't want to spoil it for me. Like I don't mind spoilers too much, but this is a series that like I can wait to see what happens with it. I want to rewatch this movie. Like,
like I said, it's like a shot for shot remake, man. I mean, like it is beyond not having the Emperor and not having Sting play Faye. Like this thing has everything. Like it's barely skimping on missing a beat to the original.
And I was really impressed with, was it Timothy? What's his Shalom? Whatever.
Yeah,
I know I'll just butcher that name. I'm not even gonna try it. But when I'm
Doom Kid.
Yeah. But I really wasn't sold on him as an actor. I've kind of seen some other things, but now in the beginning, and I think that's going to be another interesting thing too, to see his maturation up to now that he's, taking his father's place, that kind of thing.
And that's a perfect point to bring up too. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but I mean, and that's what I was trying to follow, because it's like when you first see him, it's like a kid, kind of like a brash kid. Because I thought it was really cool, that scene, especially with his mother's the head whomever of the sect that she's with,
Bene Gesserit.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting, because I'm like, okay, well, that kind of speaks, kind of volumes to his character, or the character of his character.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of honed in on that. So I was like, okay, well, because he kind of sounded a little entitled to begin with, but then I think as it, in the evolution, it was like, okay, well, now I realize, what I need to be doing, who I need to be, what shoes I need to fill, that kind of thing. So I think that's going to be really interesting to see. And of course, I've looked a little into it, just kind of get a synopsis, like, because I think Brian and I were talking about it, because I think there's supposed to be 3 movies. I think that's the grand plan.
I'm not sure.
I wouldn't mind it.
I think the first 2 are supposed to basically be just to cover the first book. And I think the third one is supposed to cover another book. I cannot remember off the top of my head which one it was.
And that'd be all new material too. Like we'd never seen that book.
Yeah, I think it's
not seen yet.
Yeah.
I can't remember which book it was, but it was like one that was like maybe 2 or 3 or whatever into the series, because I know there's like a ton of them. But the first 2 movies are supposed to, follow just the first book unto itself. It's just split in half. So I think that's going to be a really interesting point just to see. But that's what I always like. I always like to see the relationships and, see how characters evolve. And to me, if you have something, especially you have a son trying to fulfill his father's footsteps or, take over, like in this case, the House of Atreides and that kind of thing. So I'm really
And
interested to see how
Oscar
that's going to
Isaac's
go.
footsteps. I mean, that's
Well, that's what I'm saying. And it was just
women
and
and men love that dude.
And I think it was what I told you guys. I think the only time I really laughed out loud was when oh shoot, I can't remember his is it Leto? Is that his character's name? Oscar Isaacs. Something along those
Yes,
lines.
Duke Leto. Yeah.
So he was telling the son, he's like, "Well, I told my father, he's like, I just wanted to be a pilot. I want to be like, the best pilot out there." And I'm like,
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Sorry, that's funny.
That's pretty good.
I think I kind of laughed out loud on that one, but I mean, for the most
I think
part,
having his character, I think going back to where you were at talking about him, the son, splitting that movie off right where they did was perfect for their timing. And even though like to me it felt abrupt, that's because like in the 84 movie it feels like they do a real quick jump, and that jump leads to him being the kid who doesn't want it to the kid realizing that he has the opportunity to make something of it in himself, like the situation. And so it really, whereas that movie didn't take enough time to tell that story, now we're going to have 2 years to twiddle our thumbs and, wait for them to turn around, which is also 2 years can actually make someone look a whole lot different. We grew up with a bunch of characters like MCU,
at that age,
like
especially
having such a grand time frame. Those people are like in your peripheral constantly. But when you got someone gone for 2 years he doesn't do anything that like my crowd watches. Like kids know him, like I don't know him.
Hmm.
So who knows what he's what's going to happen to him?
Yeah.
His voice could drop again. I don't know.
You never know. That's especially at this age. You're right. That's where it would have benefited them very much to be able to film these movies back to back. But it's funny because you're right that those actors are not in my age group. Like even Zendaya is not in my age group. She's in she's Mary Jane, but like I was just at a restaurant last night watching entertainment, and there was just on TV on. There was Entertainment Tonight or whatever on. I didn't realize how big she was, and both my daughters were like, "Oh yeah, they absolutely loved her," and they knew the main character for Dune. They knew about Dune just because of the kid that played the role, the main character. And I was like, "Wow, I'm really out of the loop with these characters. Like these are kind of Nickelodeon actors that are coming of age, is what it is. They're growing into adults and they're coming of age.
Generations are shifting a little bit.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah, it reminded me. Sarah, I share your sentiments on not particularly liking the character at the beginning or thinking he could hold the character, but really being happy with the way it ended. It reminds me, I don't know if y'all ever seen the show Merlin. It's an old CW show. It reminds me of Arthur in Merlin. It's one of those guys, he's very pretentious. He's, the prince, whatever. But when it comes down to it, he can hold his own type thing. And that's what it gave me the vibes of. And I like that.
Was that, was that the show? Did you ever watch Vikings?
No, this was a show on CW. It's a very CW-ish show. It came out.
I know, but
a long time ago. Yeah,
there's a character in Vikings. Vikings is a fantastic show. I cannot say that you should watch it enough. There's a character in that show who actually plays Merlin in one of those offshoot shows. I'm not sure if it's that one though, since there's so many different like King Arthur Merlin stories. But
the only character I recognized from that show that I've seen in other ones was the girl who played Lana Lang in Supergirl was in this one. She played like Merlin's equal female nemesis. So main character, one of the main characters throughout the whole series. But yeah, I mean, it just reminded me of that. This is the vibes I got from it. It's one of those characters like I look at him like I don't want to like this guy, but then at the end I'm like, okay, I can deal with this guy type thing. But yeah, I wanted to hear your thoughts, Sarah, because I know I talked to you about it before and you'd really liked it and you hadn't been able to talk about it since you've been on here. It's come out, so I wanted to make sure you got your thoughts out there about it because Dune is pretty awesome, man. I'm really, really into the series. Another reason I don't want to go back and watch the 84 one or the original is because I don't want to see those box shields. Like the way they did the shields in this one was cool with me. I don't want to see those box shields. And I know it's
You got to do it at some point.
Prisoner of the Time.
Once the next movie comes out,
After I
you
see
gotta
this next
watch it.
movie, maybe I will, just to compare. Maybe we'll do a retrospective and then watch it just to compare, you know. And the last thing I have to say about this one, I was really, really surprised because I haven't seen this movie. I didn't know what was going to happen. That characters like Jason Momoa and Oscar Isaac died so quickly. I was like, wow, that seems like a big paycheck to cut them out so quick, you know. But who knows what happens next, you know? So
That movie has a lot of man meat in it. That's all I'll say.
lots and lots of man meat. That's right. That's a great way to put it. All right. Well, all right. Let's get into the shows then. Sarah, I'll give you a break because I'm going to lead you into one of these shows, not this one. Ross, I'll lead you into this one. Let's talk about some Doom Patrol. This is the penultimate, correct?
Ooh. Yes, this was episode 9.
Talk about them with the kids in bed real quick. Get us going.
All right.
I'm trying to remember the end of it because I watched it late last night, so I might have like snoozed through a couple of minutes.
The
I
end
think
of the
I remember
show?
it. Yeah, I just remember like it was crazy.
We'll take it from the top and then we'll push on. You'll remember it. Because when we start, we start with the scene. This whole show had that black and white footage of Madame Rouge and I don't remember I can't remember the other girl's name that
We'll
was
just
in.
call her Fog.
There you go. And then, eventually we came to seeing that shot and actually seeing Rita in it. And so this right here felt like that exact scene. So we were back in 1917, the first year that Rita showed up, and that footage felt like that. It jumped right into...
I think it was Rita and Madame Rouge, or Rita giving her the business again, saying just how crappy she was.
But it did a good job because it started off with that scene, but then it was like showing the bond between them and then how far they've come. It was like, boom, you're back in the present. And she's like, I'm going to go off and find, I can't do an English accent, and find the
Is it
the
English
Brotherhood
or
of Evil.
Scottish? She sounds like she has a brogue.
UK-ish. I'll go with that.
Okay.
It covers like 4 of them. But no, I think that, like I said, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but the way like they're directing and like their whole story is coming together, I'm a fan of, because it's like putting a puzzle together. It's like at the very beginning, they give you edges and then you don't know anything else. You're just plopping pieces in the middle. And then eventually you start making sense of things and then you build a puzzle, like literally that. And maybe I stole it from, K's Underground Puzzle Machine or whatever. But I mean, like that's what this show is like. It's like putting a puzzle together. The next scene that they walked into was Larry carrying the tumor, and he was having that dream, and it was just like, dude, Cliff, Lair Bear, you went back and got him.
That right there, because I'm like, that got me right there. I said that cannot be real, because it's just the way.
No, nothing felt real about it.
No, it's just.
So we've the night. Sorry, I just walked back in the conversation. Then we're establishing that I'm assuming that the Eternal Flatulent was not what we saw last episode. It's this episode, right?
I think it's bending. So I think at some point during this show, I thought like what had happened first was like the first stage, like the first wave, like maybe this is the second wave. But I think it's literally just them coming to terms with their shit.
Okay.
I think that they're all slowly trying to figure it out. And what it's doing is really, it's making them so uncomfortable on a subconscious level with themselves to where they're really trying to figure something out. Larry, I mean, I don't know a better way to say it. It's like it's being static shocked by the tumor. I mean, he's sitting there holding it the whole entire time. And I'm like, if it keeps shocking you, like fucking insulate that thing.
I
don't know. But, because you got the same thing with Vic, Vic went off on his dad, more or less. Here we are constantly. I mean, like, I thought we only had one teenage show to watch, and here I am feeling like I'm stuck in another one. But with the Vic and his father relationship, it just keeps going back and forth. But then we find out that he just gets skin, and the tech is still underneath him, but it can't come out anymore. So like, it's just keeping him alive.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, so you're like all, 3 thrill, no frill. Like I don't know a better way to.
It's like you're normal.
You have all the bad parts of being Cyborg and none of the good parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cyborg
I mean,
pissed
he
me
may
off
have a good
this
part. I
episode.
don't know.
Yeah, sure. Cyborg
But-
pisses me off in this episode, man. Like he really does, dude. That sorry, I'll let you continue, but I'll get to it. Cyborg
No,
really makes me mad.
you're right. I mean, seeing him without your dubbed Kmart suit is weird. I think that like I got so used to seeing him with that suit on that I was just like, it is what it is. And like seeing him without it, I'm like, oh, pretty soon he's going to actually start using his real accent too, and it's going to make me feel very uncomfortable. I thought that his dad was holding the rock, but it didn't show it because if you remember in the last episode, he left the rock on the ledge instead of the toy.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And I thought that his dad was holding it the whole entire time they were having that conversation. And he may have been, I don't know, but they never pointed it out or like turned it into like a conversation point. Man, after that, we jump right into Jane and that whole world is messed up. I mean, she's just like, I'm going to the surface. And
That's a great
Katie's going to the surface. And Jane's just sitting there like, where is everybody? Screams of death are happening behind her.
I know,
Where is
right? I'm
everybody?
thinking-
Yeah.
The whole thing is just weird. After that, she shows up, and then they're all sitting there at the table. Cliff comes in. He's trying to arm wrestle. Like, one of us would be called Robot Man,
Right.
or Cyborg, or whichever it is. Like, I'll arm wrestle you for it. And it just shows everyone's weaknesses, I think, to a point to where they are all completely worried about themselves. And everyone is just so caught up in their own stuff. And then Rita's the only one who has a clean and clear course in front of her that she can't get any satisfaction on.
That's
The
the
fight
fight
on the fight on the bus shows you where they're at as a team. You know, it's where everyone is thinking selfishly, partially correctly so. Like, you know, the eternal flagellation was all about, you know, come to terms with your shit. And that's what they're kind of doing, but they're doing it in such a reckless way that like they just hate each other now.
Yeah.
So
See, I took it as Rita being the most selfish of all of them. Like her not having a clear cut way. Like okay, you know, maybe I'm getting through things confused, crossing lines here.
I guess because you're trying to think she has a bigger picture, but yet she still has that
A more clear objective. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because
she's on revenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So this episode, it sets up really well for a finale. I thought the last episode set up really well for a finale. The way it ended with Rita and old girl.
They're doing what the Titans didn't do, and they're giving us like a.
That's a very, very good point. That's exactly what the Titans did not do. That's right. Look, Cyborg pisses me off in this episode, dude. He really does. Like, okay, if somebody calls you a bitch and you bitch about it, guess what? You're probably a bitch. Okay. If you do nothing but bitch and whine and complain about having these fucking amazing superpowers that you have, and then you finally get rid of them, and all you do is bitch about not having them, you're a bitch. Like they turned Cyborg into a bitch, and I can't stand. I've said bitch like 7 times. I can't stand. They've done that with his character. I like the actor.
It's just the whole back and forth with he and his dad. I mean, they're both bitches.
Yes.
I'm like,
are you gonna?
Y'all are just.
It's not even his dad. His dad's not even being that bad. It's like Cyborg. Grow the fuck up, dude. Seriously. Grow the fuck up.
That form of entitlement where I wasn't able to be who I was going to be. You didn't know what in the hell was going on at that point in time anyways. I mean,
you got to be somebody way better than you ever could have been. I'm sorry. I don't care if you got a fucking arm cannon and a goddamn grid in your head. You're better than you could have been. I don't give a shit what you say. You know, nobody's going to beat you. So
I do like the dependency that they showed with him having on his cyborg part. You know, like, hey, Grid, I'll go get my laptop.
I thought they laid it on
you will.
I thought they laid it on kind of thick, doing it twice in like a 30-second span, like twice in one scene. I was like, come on, twice in one scene, really? Once with the cannon, next with the grid in the same scene.
Like you said, you may be a bitch.
Yeah. I thought it was really funny that the entire time they've been searching for different stuff, like the Brotherhood of Evil, like for like the last episode or two at least. And then like as soon as Cyborg, who doesn't have grid anymore, is like, let me get my laptop. 30 seconds later, he's like, they're in Florida. Like, how did you find him so quickly on your laptop right now, but whenever you actually had grid in your head, you couldn't find them? Like, what the fuck is that? I was like, it's not
Yeah.
good writing right there. They knew exactly where they were. We're just going to write that in there. It happened. You know, I was like, I don't
It was
like that.
extremely transitive. They just needed to get from A to B real fast because they got a 13-hour drive ahead of them.
Yes, this is true. Which, well, not anymore. After the end of this episode, that bus ain't going nowhere. Bus ain't going nowhere, sir.
You think they'll keep driving that bus? Because I feel like every time something happens to it, they just keep driving it.
Look, Nathan asked if we think he still has a full functioning robo weenie. I'm sure that the brain made that a functional part of his body. If you've not been able to have arms and legs for how long now? 80, 90 years? Yeah, you're definitely making sure that you're well hung and that it works.
Anytime that his skin comes off, it gets rebuilt with the robotics.
Anytime
so
his skin
maybe,
comes off.
like anytime like he gets a cut, like it gets healed
Cyborg?
by
Okay.
So I mean, maybe
what I want to know about Cyborg
if he
is
Lorena Bobbitt's himself, who knows?
Yeah. Oh, I thought we were talking about Cliff Steele. Oh yeah, but anyway, I want to know. So they're trying to sell us that Cyborg like just has skin over the tech, right? But the tech was like 2 inches out from his face, right?
They did say that they removed it.
They removed
what they could.
Okay.
And then covered what was left.
Okay.
Well, that shit healed pretty quickly. So I mean, I guess maybe his
TV
self-generation
technology, baby. That's right.
Much better than Crane's face.
Yeah. Which, by the way, they don't heal that quickly either. Like you don't have those beautiful clean cuts, 2 days after you cut yourself. It just doesn't happen like that.
It's a fresh Pat Cave air.
Television. But no, man, Doom Patrol season finale next week. This is one of those shows that every year going into the finale, I have no fucking idea how it's going to end, and it's fun going into a finale like that. Sarah, you and I were talking about it before, how this show started to kind of lose me. It really did, but it's reeled me back in the last few episodes. Like now, I have a coherent story I can follow. I have a conclusion that I see them trying to work towards, and I see, multiple different possibilities how it can happen.
Well, I should know better because this show has a tendency, once it gets sort of about 3/4 way through, it starts veering off just kind of oddly a little bit. But then finally you're like, okay, well, I needed those parts in order to pull it back to, for the full story.
Misdirection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's that whole not judging until you've giving them a chance to explain it type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was going to watch it anyways, but still, it was just kind of like, okay.
Nathan and Cyborg. So I was the only one talking about Cliff Steele's dick. So everybody was talking about Cyborg.
Well, if you talk about his other brain,
and then
kind of lost that.
Nathan says Book of Boba is going to be good. Good is an understatement, Nathan. Yes, it's going to be great. It's going to be a really, really good show. So, we already talked about Boba Fett. All right. So, anything else you want to say about Doom Patrol?
Yeah. Baby Madame Rouge.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Thank you so much for bringing this up. Holy shit. How does HBO Max have such shitty computer animation? It looked so terrible. Like,
and that's like
the
nightmare
in 95 looked better than this. It was horrible. Independence Day looked better than this. I mean, come on.
We started talking about this show.
Horrible.
The first episode, I pointed out the fact that I was really turned off by the CG for Candlemaker and from last season also.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other scene with Kay's dad and the puzzle pieces, and I wasn't expecting anything else. It's once again, it comes with the show. Like if this were something else, I would be like, nope, like you lost me. But with Doom Patrol, I'm like, it's so tacky. Everything is tacky.
I just don't know how HBO Max lets that slide, man. That just looked it looked like it was like something we did in when we would go to the computer lab, Ross, and we would clip art together. Like it looked like they clipped two scenes together. You could, that's what it looked like. It looked like they pasted a really crappy version of a baby with long arms and a human in an adult face, to a scene. And I was just like, oh my God.
All it needed was Benny Hill. It just needed that Benny Hill track right behind it.
Yeah.
And then the dan 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 dan.
Yeah, but that was like
But
nightmare fuel. Oh God.
it
Ugh.
was.
Ugh.
I don't
Ugh.
know. For me, that was just horrible. That's not even the only show this week that had some pretty fucking horrible or like graphics. Like it was. We're gonna talk about it here in a little while, but yeah, that was one scene that I could not believe when I saw. I was like, man, am I watching the same show? Because you're right, the Candlemaker wasn't great. They've had some things that are kind of, but for me, I think in season 3, that's the worst they've put out as far as how it looks. You know, but once again, like you said, Ross, this is an off the wall show. They probably give 0 Fs.
Larry's carrying a alien tumor
Yeah,
around. Like
exactly. So
I want to
0
make
F
sense
to
of
give.
it, but there's no good answer.
I did want to ask, how did she get in as the baby? Because Rita suspected that his daughter was Madame Rouge. It ended up being the baby. It was a little bit of a misdirection, which you could kind of see coming. But how did she get there as the baby with nobody noticing?
Well, so she is a shapeshifter, but I think at the end of the day, the only thing that we can make sense of is
Good
once
timing.
Claire left with the baby to change the baby,
Mhm.
she would just jump right back in that role, assuming that she could probably just touch Cliff and then take him away.
Okay.
Because
So
she straight up did.
probably well planned out. Yeah, I assume they just didn't.
Well, I mean, she fought as a mutating baby human, so I don't know if it was really well thought out. I don't know if anything in this show is really well thought
the
out.
lead up was well thought out. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that scene just got me, man. Once again, it doesn't ruin the show for me. Just like 3 bad finales of Titans doesn't ruin the show for me of that. But it was definitely something that pulled me out. I was like, I don't know about this. Finale next
watch
week.
Doom Patrol until I'll watch season 20. It's just so off the wall. I don't know why. I can't give you a reason. It's like the fact
we
that
didn't
I
get a
can't
full
do that.
season for season 2 wasn't really technically a full season because
True.
it got pulled back because of COVID.
True.
So now it's
But
like,
season 2 was still so good after season 1.
Yes.
Season 1 was fantastic. I loved
yes.
season 1. But I mean, season 2 wasn't it did not come out and bomb. I'm like, it still told a good story, even though it left on a cliffhanger. I mean, I actually kind of like a little cliffhanger because if I get if they completely close up the story at the end of the season, we don't know if we're going to be coming back next year,
right?
But they do. I feel like it doesn't leave you asking a question. And if you ask a question continuously, you get to talk about it, theorize about it, and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, it may just be for yourself. Like maybe me and 6 other people enjoy doing it, but I enjoy doing it. It's going to bring me back. I don't need to know that everyone sleeps well at night in the gigantic, shitty New Jersey style mansion. I just need to know that, there's going to be something else, something better. And I love that about this show.
Well, you need that Negan Bat moment, I just use that as a specific example. I remember that being the ending of one of the seasons of Walking Dead. Everybody was ready for the next season to come out. As soon as that season was over, even whether you like the show or not, you were so ready for the next season to come out that you've already been sold on it. You're going to watch the next season as soon as you can, and that's the marketing job. It's what they're supposed to do. Yeah. So good shows do that. They tie you in. It's like I said, you want to have that thirst, a little bit of. It sounds bad, but a little bit of not being completely satisfied, not being completely fulfilled, but feeling like they
a little bit of want left
feeling
there.
like they can get it there, So, hey, sometimes the foreplay is what makes it better. I'm just telling you. So, but not sometimes, most of the time.
I'm gonna hold that joke. I got it.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got anything else you want to say about Doom Patrol? Finale next week. Do we know if we have a season 4 yet?
Yes, we do.
Confirmed.
Do you guys? What do you think about? What do you think is going to happen with Kay and Jane and the rest of the fucking weirdo clown posse?
To be truly honest with you. Oh, go ahead, sir.
No, I'm just saying I don't know because I mean it's I kind of said this before. If Kay's thinking she's getting better, and she doesn't need all the other personalities, but then again, Kay did make a statement. Jane did make a statement. She's like, "Well, the underground's not going to survive without us." So I don't really think Kay is where she thinks she is. I think she still has a lot more growth to go, honestly, because I mean she's still she might have gotten over this one part, but I mean, she's still a little girl. So I mean, I don't know. I can't really tell which way it's going to go. I mean, you know, obviously there's going to be some craziness that's going to, you know, unfold, but maybe that'll lead into next season. I don't know.
You said you didn't remember the end of this episode. Do you remember the end of what happened with her?
I remember her. Didn't she walk like into like the back room or like a back hall or something? I remember seeing like all these little eyeballs and all this kind of stuff. That might have been where my phone fell. I don't know.
But she walked into the weird hallway and then essentially went back into her room in the underground. But I mean, you know, she sat there and let out like pick someone, siren scream, you know? I mean, like she just straight up just like let it out between her and then Jane did it up on the surface.
Yeah, I was gonna say is Jane was up on the surface before we left. So Kay was down back in the underground before the episode was over.
Well, that's why I asked, because you know we left in such a weird spot that.
Well, she's what caused the wreck with the bus, correct?
Well, see, that's the thing about too, because I know Kay, she's trying to get past that trauma, but that's the kind of type of trauma that I mean, you're literally, you know, scarred, and I don't know if her coming back into that, if that's going to kind of like regress, or if she's going to be able to heal from that. I don't know. So that's kind of.
I don't care about any of the underground except for Jane. Like, and honestly, I don't want Kay. Like, I like whatever, you know, I've seen little bits and pieces of her as a character. I think it's amazing that Diane Guerrero's name can play these roles so well. But I like her as Jane the best, man. The dynamic between her and Cliff Steele, between Jane and Cliff Steele, is the absolute best part of this show. I don't care what anybody says. The stuff they say. What did Cliff say this week? We're 2 bananas short of a shit Sunday. Like, almost over the show with that, you know? Like there's so many things they say that are just absolutely perfect. That they are the best part of this show. I want Jane. And besides, the character in the comics is Crazy Jane. It's not Kay. Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna say that. I haven't read a lot of the comics, so I can't really quote that. But as far as I understand, it's Crazy Jane, not Kay. So
the only thing I want to say, because since I didn't get to talk about last week's episode, how flipping awesome was it to see Brendan Fraser as Cliff Steele?
It was pretty cool. But man, I tell you what, that guy hasn't aged well. He has not aged well. From Encino Man to where he's at now,
bro.
He's definitely got.
So all of his interviews have been like how much like all of his roles have like taken a toll on his body, like with everything. And then not only that,
what roles did he have a toll on his body? The Mummy.
I mean, like he has to stay like fit for all those weird shows. Like he was trying to stay fit constantly, and like he was going to like extreme limits because like he's not like a super fit guy.
Yeah, but I don't think he was ever like a ripped like super fit guy. Like he was just an in shape guy, you know.
So, but the thing that's going to take every bit of your like last physicality out of you is the rumored $900 million that he has to pay in alimony. So.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Talk about things that are going to take you down.
I give him a pass. That'll do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at Wikipedia because, because I remember hearing he's had a lot of like several surgeries and whatnot. So that's another thing because, I mean, he doesn't really have a whole lot of mobility. So
it's amazing that, I mean, like we still have him. I love the fact that we do, because the Brendan Fraser that we have now is fucking awesome.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's a perfect Cliff Steele. He plays that role perfectly. Yes. I love it, love it, love it. Nathan says he thinks he broke his back at one point and had to leave acting. There was a time when I don't remember seeing him in movies for a while. Like I think he was like Encino Man, and then like The Mummy, then Bedazzled, and then like I don't remember seeing. He was pretty big for a little while. Then I don't remember seeing him at all. So yeah,
dude,
you could
back
be right.
injury will take you out.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And it could cause you to not be in as good a physical shape. Yep. So, but yeah, I love him as a casting. I love all the castings for this show. Like I think everybody does a great job in their role. But this show,
the Moody Monkey. Oh man,
yes,
that dude. Talk about that. Oh my god!
Which, by the way, looked fucking horrible. Horrible.
I mean,
it looked horrible. Come on, we've seen Planet of the Apes. Come on, it looked horrible.
Oh,
Yeah, but
so
they
the
don't
little
have planet
machine running around with
money.
the brain, that looked fantastic too.
They're on that looked better than a CGI
It
monkey
looked
that
like
looked
a
like he was
garbage
copy and
can with
pasted
a
on.
brain on top of it. I mean,
Yeah,
I
what
but
love
is
how
that?
it would raise up to like get on like your level and then like
yeah.
swivel and then like come back down.
I actually like the brain as a character. I thought it was pretty cool the way they did that. He's not intimidating at all, but he's intimidating. You know, it's really strange. Like you feel like he could kick your ass somehow, but he can't kick your ass.
All you did, kick
Well,
him over.
they
yeah,
they lost and retired to Florida. You know, I mean,
right.
Boca Raton of all
Boca, that's
places.
right.
just what was
Seinfeld.
that like
Seinfeld
30
reference.
miles north of Fort Lauderdale or something? Like it's right around that area.
And the fact that
I mean,
Madame
it's
Rouge, she had to like ring him in. And she's like, hello.
Well,
And the
and let's
ape, he's like, what?
let's talk about that because the ape obviously did not want her back. Like obviously, he didn't want her to come in the premises. He didn't want her back
I
at
think he
all.
was
He was
just
very
done.
pissed off. He had the blender going on like you couldn't hear. Like, is there something going
God.
on in
Is
the
he the
background
wife?
there?
I mean, because that's what it sounded like.
Okay, so that's what it sounds like. Maybe he's just a jealous wife of the
No,
brain.
I'm just saying it's like the whole like with the blender, like, I'm not hearing you. I'm not listening.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm wondering if that's going to come into play later because it seems like they tried to put it out there very much that he does not like her. You know, although by the end of this episode, she's not really doing very well anyway. So
It sure seems like the brain is just done. You know,
yeah,
he
he's
gets a
ready to
body
party.
and he just wants to dance.
I'm not gonna lie.
You know, so
I'd be
like,
right
so
there with him. Yeah.
true.
As soon as
But at
Sheba
the same
hits 20
time,
cents, that's how I'm
Well,
gonna
it's
be.
just like the other guys.
So-
Who were the other ones that were that went down to that resort or whatever that waited for Rita
Dude,
for so long?
we never talked about Garguax quite a bit. That fucking character was badass. Like I love that dude.
He
I
like
mean, he's
walked
just
in
sitting
like
there.
And they bring him up a few times in this episode too, I think.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's cool they tie that back in together. But yeah, man, Doom Patrol. I don't know how it's gonna end, man. And that's what I think is one of the coolest parts about the show. It makes me the most interested to see the finale next week because I know that after next week it's gonna be over. And I don't know where they're at. Like
Next
this
week
show does a
is
good job of throwing
titled-
me for a loop.
Next week is titled Amends Patrol. So they're making
Ooh.
amends.
Okay.
So I'm assuming they're going to come, you know, they're going to figure out their flagellating selves and
Have the breakthrough.
do something about it.
It's the only way you can defeat the flagellant, the eternal flagellants, have the breakthrough. They mentioned
Mhm.
that. So they always mention how to beat the final test somewhere in the show. It's like in Flash, whenever the Thinker was in there, they
Mhm.
mentioned the season before how they beat the Thinker. Like they had mentioned it in the season before, and I was like, "Oh, does anybody remember when they said this? How we beat the Thinker? Like that? They had already told you how they did it.
You
Like,
guys
this
need a
happened before.
stenographer.
Yeah, this happened
Write
before,
down
so.
your stuff.
But all right, cool. Well, let's move on then. Sarah, I'll put you on the spot now. You weren't here last week to get the new Star Trek show that is out. It freaks me out when I see Nickelodeon over the top of it. It makes me feel like I'm a little kid watching a show, but I really don't
It
care. 'cause
totally
I watch-
does.
Yeah, I watch little kid shows anyways. But Sarah, you've been trying to take my Trek virginity for a while, so and it's starting to wane on me. What do you think about Prodigy?
Well, I mean, I'd been hearing about it, and that was kind of like one of the little side projects where I kind of had forgotten about it because there was, there's like some other ones that are in the mix or whatever. I thought it was a different, an interesting take because you come from Lower Decks, which is an animated Star Trek, but then now you come to Prodigy, which is another animated Star Trek.
Mhm.
And like I said, I love this animation because it reminds me a lot of. I think I told you this too, was like Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm. That's the vibe I got too. Yep.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's not as clean, but it's very similar. But I like the introduction of the different characters. I thought it was kind of cool how, because like the first episode, I'll say episode, it's really episode 1 and 2. They just kind of threw together.
Right.
So it's ended up being like more of an hour than.
Which I'm glad
30
they
minutes.
did. It made
Mhm.
more sense that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And because I already knew that Captain Janeway was going to be there. I already knew about that. So I was kind of curious to see how she was going to incorporate into it. This ship, I think they call it the Protostar. Oh my God, that ship is gorgeous.
It looks awesome. It does.
I mean, it's definitely has Voyager vibes because of the shape. And I don't even know what class this ship is. But I mean, obviously it's I want to know, number one, why it was stuck in that. I don't know if it was a planet or just like a.
We're going to talk about that. I have a
I'm
theory.
not quite sure what the hell that was. And plus, even with the. Yeah, and now I'm just like totally on the spot. I can't remember anything. But anyways, I mean, I just like the characters, and then of course you have like the brash little leader, where he's out like, oh, I'm the captain, I'm this, that, and other. I'm like, no, son, you just don't know what's going on right now, but that's fine. But I mean, I just think it's set up to be something interesting. I hope it's going to be a little bit different. I hope it's going to be a little bit more off the wall, kind of a little more off the book.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously they're not cadets. They don't know anything about the Federation, which is really interesting too. So it'll be a different, viewpoint, so to speak, because number one, I mean, and like, how do you know even what in the hell to do with this ship? You just walk in and you're just like, oh, I've got a ship. Let's see if I can figure out how to get. Oh, just push a button. Oh, everything just boots up, and it's just. And then of course Janeway pops up, and I'm like, oh, well, this is going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. But they just happen to just be able to, and it's just sitting there, And I'm curious, how long has it been sitting there? Because I mean, the Warp Core, you've got to have a little bit of maintenance on this. I mean, I don't know. It's a little far-fetched, for my Star Trek brain, mm-hmm. but I'm willing to roll with it. I'm like, I just want to see how this goes. Mm-hmm. And I think it might be more, kid friendly, being, Nickelodeon, that kind of thing, which I don't know. That don't really bother me too much, but
no, it really doesn't. I mean, if you're gonna watch something animated, who gives a shit who makes it? It's animated. You can tell just as good of a story. Some of these stories are better that I've seen in a lot of these animated series are way better than anything I've seen live action. Mm-hmm. I'm like, damn, I would love to see this as a live action movie. Even though I'm getting it animated, it's still pretty great.
But it's setting up to be something pretty interesting, though. Especially
it definitely is.
Especially with the the ships and where they are and just the technology and all that kind. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be interesting.
Well, before I hop into my warp drive theory, because you were talking about that, and I have some thoughts about this ship that I want to put out there. Let's talk about the contrast in the first and second episode, because the first episode you can watch it, and minus the translator at the end and seeing Janeway, it's not a Star Trek show.
No.
The second episode is nutsack on your forehead, Star Trek show. Like all over you, like it covers everything. And I was like, okay, so they took it a totally different direction, but I like it because you get two episodes, which was smart to put them together to introduce the characters.
Uh-huh.
Now we're watching them walk into Starfleet, which is really cool. You get a little description of it. This is a perfect show for somebody who knows nothing about Star Trek.
Absolutely.
To walk into. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a new generation. They're doing a great job with the animation, with the storytelling, and with the way they're walking Star Trek virgins into Star Trek. It's absolutely perfect. I love the way they're doing it.
So did you learn about the Federation?
A little bit, yes. So definitely did. But what do you think? Did y'all notice that contrast of how the first episode was almost nothing Star Trek? The second episode is almost all Star Trek?
Yeah, but it was all necessary. I mean, it was completely. If you're gonna open a show, a series, or anything, I mean, the best way to do it is just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. And so I think what they did was they didn't. You can only do it one of two ways. One, you walk in, you put it down on the table, and you're like, "This is a Star Trek show. Get with it or get out." Exactly.
Right.
The other option is like, here's our people. We're gonna show you how they got together, and then we're gonna push you out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
Go play, have fun.
Right.
So I think that it was exactly what they needed to do, because there is no good way to. You can't use known or traditional characters. I mean, they pulled Janeway as perfect for that, right? Mm-hmm. But you can't bring anyone else in, because then you're going to lose the vibe of the show.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a character to be the usher. Janeway doing that works, but you can't have anyone else do it.
All right.
Like
anybody else, you can't have a super popular character do it. I mean, not saying Janeway isn't, but right, pulls you out.
And not only distracting, it's going to be, I don't want to say meaningless, but it's going to take value away from your other characters.
Right.
And so if your true goal is to actually tell a new story to push it on, they have to have those new characters. And I think that giving them the real short backstory of like, we were all prisoners, we all did one thing that we didn't like, and like pushing on into this episode a little bit, like when God, I can't remember the rock girl's name,
Rock
but
Top.
there you go. She wanted to order the same food that she ate on that planet because like
Because that's all
that's
she
like
ever knew.
exactly.
Nutrigoop is what it's called.
And it was sad, but it was true and it was real. I mean, like I think that it's, even though it's a Nickelodeon show, I think it does a very good job of appealing to anyone and everyone, regardless. Just because one, the animation's great. Two, the story is for kids. Yes, but at the same time, I mean, I pulled up a story because like I did see it and read it in the news. They don't know why the ship exists because it was only rumored that two of these ships exist, Discovery being one of them, and that damn, I don't want to. At the end of one of the seasons, when the ship was trying to do the thing and blast out, they destroyed the other ship, and so like they were wondering like, did they just like cross directions on their stories and like they're not telling a true canonized story with this?
Retcon, maybe? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care. I mean, it's a cartoon. Like, I mean, clearly I want them to pull, but at the same time, like, I'm not expecting flawless victory on this. So
Right. The target audience they're looking for in this show is not going to make that connection. I'd be upset about that.
Dude, I imagine anyone between 5 to 15. That's being very generous. Like,
I'm 37,
on
so
that
I
span.
still watch it. Yeah.
But the direct audience.
Yeah. I'm out of that group. I got you. No. Okay. So this ship, now that we're talking about it, okay. Obviously, they laid it on pretty thick in the first episode. But this is the I don't know the guy's name, the big bad in this, because he's gonna be the bad in the series, the dad of the daughter who was stolen.
The diviner.
Yeah,
I call him Malekith.
Yeah. It's just that's a good way to put it. He looks exactly like him. It's his prize. Okay. In this episode, they point out that it has 2 warp drives, and in the middle of the 2 warp drives, well, what is that thing? And they touch it and they bring it up, and that whatever that is the reason that was the whatever his name's prize. Like something about this ship. And the question is still to answer, why is it there? Like, did they bury a ship in a pile of rock to be discovered by somebody one day in a system that's not even in their jurisdiction? Like, I don't understand that. And then I do have a question for Star Trek people. Did humans start the Federation, or did they join the Federation after we were able to travel to space? Like, did we bring all of these planets across the galaxy together, or was it already established and we just we got the ring and now we're part of, we go to
Federation headquarters has pretty much always been in San Francisco. So
okay, so it's
I think that started like from where humans finally started, discovered warp travel, and then once
first contact.
Yeah, exactly. So when Efren Cochrane, when he finally took his first flight, and then that's when the Vulcans came across and got their attention. So then from there on, it was like humans, the Vulcans. It's kind of like if you ever watch Enterprise, that kind of gives you a little bit more background on that as well.
Okay.
But it's just like humans, like their space as exploration, and then somehow after meeting all these different species and on these different planets and that us being humans, it's like, let's everybody get along. So and then you got the Klingons over there going, nope, I don't think so.
Right. And so, I think that's the biggest difference between Star Wars and Star Trek is these guys are explorers, not soldiers, right? That's
exactly
the thing. They're explorers.
I mean, you still have military officers, because that's how Enterprise, because you have the actual Federation, but yet you still had I can't remember what they were called, because you still had military force.
That's kind of rank
Space Force.
In place. Yeah. There you go.
But it eventually it evolves to where you have like security officers, but that's like just for anything else. So it's not really like a militaristic type exploration. It's more of like just to explore new worlds and that kind of thing. So yeah.
There is a movie, and I'm trying to remember the name of it right now because I can't. I keep blanking on it. It was not that great of a movie, but the whole thing was based in space. Um, it had an intro, and it played Space Oddity, the Major Tom song, and it is one of the best intros that could be used to describe something like how the Federation started. And it's like we went up into space and we made the ISS, and like we were up there for a while. We were trying to do things. Next thing you know, like a alien species comes in, and then like now we're all adding technology, and the ISS turns into the very beginning of like the gigantic space station that happens like 2,000 years in the future. But we met all of these people, and so like Federation is kind of like that.
Okay.
Like you said, like with the first contact, the Vulcans noticed that we had a rocket that could shoot off into space, and then next thing you know, we moved on, we pressed on.
Well, that's kind of like basically the premise of the Prime Directive. It's like, you don't want to have, first contact with cultures that aren't doesn't have warp capabilities. That's pretty much,
they're too primitive to
Exactly.
make first contact with. Yeah, that's the whole, like the start of the second movie, or the Kelvin timeline second movie, isn't it? Like they're dealing with a primitive resource or species.
Yeah. Second movie.
I think it's the second one. I can't remember. No, the second one's Wrath of. Oh, yeah, it is the second one. I can't remember. But that's all my Star Trek knowledge is the Kelvin.
Well, there was a Next Generation episode, and I can't remember which one it was. It was where I think they had like some kind of observatory type, like up on that was cloaked on this hill or mountain or whatnot, and then I don't know, something shorted out. Somebody fell out. I think data fell out or something like that. So that was like one of those things too, because a lot of times before the first contact, it's like you'd have all these, you would actually go and look like, the race that you were going to interact with, like your facial modifications.
Almost like a translator, but
well, no, it's like
look the same.
Yeah, basically just like that. So
okay,
that's pretty Valerian in the City of 1,000 Planets is the name of the movie.
Okay.
Watch the intro on YouTube. It's just the intro to the movie before the credits.
And cut it off after that because it's garbage.
Cut it off. It's not horrible, but it's a long movie about a whole bunch of nonsense for no reason. But watch the beginning of that, and like it's a real good. If nothing else, it's just a real good clip.
Okay.
But to the intro of the first episode, the ship just sitting there, and for the fact that they hadn't found that ship. And like all they needed to do was piss off some, pissant who doesn't know anything about the planet, and
just blow it.
Yeah,
dude, it's like digging a fence and striking a pipe, man. You don't know it's there, like unless you call that 411 number and have them come mark it for you. You don't know it's there. Like it was total accident. They found it. Yeah,
it's like that's the whole premise of the Super Mario Brothers from like way back when, the movie. Like we mystically shot open, and now there's an asteroid in the planet. Someone stuck a rock in it, and boom, something happened.
But you found a starship that's like stuck in there, and you automatically think, "Oh, I'm just going to run into it. I'm just going to run there and just hit the button, and it's going to just open up and we're just going to take it."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie. If I was a prisoner on a planet and I found a ship like that, you're damn right. That's what I'd be doing. I'd die trying to get off the planet. One of the two. Like, sorry.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good mechanic. I would figure out which buttons to press on that bitch real fast.
Exactly. So talk to me about this the prisoner. I can't remember her name. The daughter of the big bad. I can't remember everybody's name except for Rock and Dak on this one, and Janeway. Okay. She's gonna end up being part of the team, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like they're setting that up where because they even put the little seeds in there this time with Rock talking to her about how you never defended us. You always just let us be.
She's gonna figure out her father is a big bad. She's gonna figure that one out.
So she's been mistaken her whole life. She's just been not corrupted, but
I think she's just been misled and used for some nefarious means as usual. So
I get that. Yep. It's like raising
she's
somebody.
She was weaponized.
Right. Exactly. She doesn't know any other way to be. Very similar to the food thing with Rock. They don't know any other way to do it, so that's what they're going to do. I'm interested to see that relationship. I thought for sure whenever she got out, there, especially when they have that, what is it? Transportation generator.
Oh yeah, the vehicle generator.
Holy crap, man! How cool is that?
I mean, which
basically
only makes
a huge
sense.
3D printer Like,
Yeah, exactly.
awesome. Yeah. Like, I get the food. I bought the food. I know they have the food. I've seen it in lower decks, whatever. Cool. But then I saw the ship and I was like, cool. So you can just go in there and basically say whatever ship you want to and they'll create it. Fuck it. I'd be like X-Wing. I don't care.
Okay, I
I
did
don't
say
care
I
I
what
want
want
you
the
BB
fucking
Oscar
technology. I
Mayer
want
Wiener
replicator
Mobile.
technology too.
Huh?
I need
Yeah.
I need replicator technology too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I just don't have time to cook every night. Plus to be
Oh,
able to say,
shit.
okay, I want this,
Buy a
this,
new
this,
wave.
this.
A new wave is like a replicator. You can put frozen food in there in 30 minutes. You have a meal. New wave.
Had
Done
one
deal.
broke
They don't
off.
pay me. They should. They don't pay me. But
Bronco, man, set it and forget it. No, I think that what I hate, what I not hate, what I didn't like was the fact that like all that stuff, like when they started playing the power games, like the shields are down, now we're
Yes.
hitting something, now we're doing this, and
Yeah.
blah, blah blah, now we're doing this, and blah blah blah. I'm like, your struggles are very very extreme. Like you're going like you are ping ponging hard,
Right.
and then Janeway's just sitting there like, are you ready yet? I'm better late than never.
Hmm. Well, I'm hoping that this is something that they use as a lesson learned rather than
Totally.
a characteristic of the character. Because I liked Dak in the first 2 episodes. I did not like him in this
Did not
episode.
like him in this. Yep.
He acts like a bitch in this episode. It's like, dude, swallow your fucking pride, and save your crew. Because otherwise, fuck you. Like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, swallow your fucking pride and just ask her what to do. You don't know what you're doing. And I really hope they use this as a learning moment rather than this is what this guy is.
All
Well,
season.
I'm seeing a lot of. I'm glad they chose Janeway for this because she was, even though she is a female captain, she kind of was. I don't want to say like a mother figure, but
Mhm.
she was more of. She tried to nurture her crew more so than just saying, I'm the captain, and especially the fact of, because this crew kind of reminds me a lot of what she had to deal with on Voyager, because you had she had her crew or the crew of Voyager, and then you had the Maquis, so you kind of intertwined those, so you had to try to get those folks to work together. And then the fact when she came across 709, that was another one. So I mean, she's kind of used to misfits type, I guess, characters or like a crew, that kind of thing. So I think
Somebody
she's
that
like the
needs whipping into shape, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's
Hodgepodge.
and for her to be like, okay, are you finished being stubborn so we can actually learn something now? So I mean, to me, I felt like that was perfect into her personality and kind of like her captaining or her. I don't know. I just thought it was
Coaching
great
style.
because
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because it's just kind of like, all right, well, if you're going to be hard headed, go right ahead. I mean, if you kill yourself, hey, it is what it is, because it's not going to affect me because I'm a hologram.
Right.
I've already lived a life.
Right.
Yeah, she's like, I've been there, done that. So I mean, you want to get your little head out of your ass and finally start paying attention to somebody and learn something, then okay, we can move forward.
Yeah.
So
I think the problem was they drug that out too long. Like, it's like, okay, dude, after you've lost your shields and you've lost power and you're floating into this dying star, at what point in time are you just going to give it up? And that was it for me. It was just too long. They drug it out.
well, it's just a
Like,
It
battle of the
should have been
wheels.
it
Yeah.
should have been the end of the two-parter. Really, is what
Yeah.
it should have been.
Oh, okay. I could see that. Yeah. Like I said, I liked the way they did the two-parter there. Like I said, I really enjoyed the first episode as a whole. It felt like watching a half a movie, and I got like maybe the third
Like
quarter
Dune.
of this movie. Ooh, yeah. But no, Prodigy's really fun, man. I'm enjoying the series. Storytelling's great, animation's great. I'm interested to see where they go with this. Once again, I didn't like the main character in this one as much, but this could be story building. I'm not going to judge it
Gotta have character growth.
finally until I see the full.
And plus, the thing about too, he doesn't know what species he is.
Yeah,
and
He
that's
doesn't know
going to
what
come
he
into
is.
play. That's
Yes,
going to come into play.
absolutely.
Oh, and I didn't ask y'all. I asked two questions at once, and we answered the second one. What did y'all think about that warp drive thing? Like, whatever is in the center of that warp drive is what.
No, it's like another spore drive.
Yeah, it's what that guy wants there, right? Like, that's why
Probably
this ship is a
so.
surprise. It's what makes this ship rare. It's got to be because they didn't know what
all
it
the
was.
best things are in the middle.
True. And you saw it was like two, like, I want to say legs up this way with a big yeah. So like it was.
Just keep going.
I was like, yeah.
No, it was a very. So here's my take on it. And so because of that information that they kind of not information. I mean, like I don't understand how you put like a news article out about an animated show. I mean, like we're way past Clone Wars for this being on this episode and like it hitting Star Trek news because of its possible connection to Discovery. Actually, no, because Greg, you haven't watched it. Okay, so
Well,
anyway,
it definitely has a connection to Discovery because of Janeway, right?
No.
she was on Voyager.
Oh, I thought she was, okay. Sorry.
So Discovery
I said no.
Discovery has a one-off drive system for that ship. Like no other ship has it. And I think that's what this is too. I think it's a direct, not correlation, but I mean like a kind of like a mirroring, like a
Okay.
an echo. I don't know the best way to describe it.
Well, the
It's
good
like
thing about
they're taking the same kind of premise and they're doing something with it. But I think that what we have here is something along the same lines as Discovery. It's just really weird because they keep talking about how apparently the ship was supposed to be destroyed. And like now here we find it on this planet, which has cloaking technology for a whole city.
yes,
Like, I don't know if we're going to talk about that, but that was very
Yes.
weird.
I brought that
So-
up. Yeah.
What about that ship that he took off on? Number one, he was like in this vat of whatever, and then that gets broken, and then now he's got, what's he like, Mr. Freeze? I mean, what the hell is going on here?
He's like
thought
Vader, Malachi mixture. Yeah. So
And then that
I
ship,
got-
I mean, it's like everything's, oh, that's just
look,
crazy.
that was a badass.
It looked
ship.
Romulan to me. It looked like
It was a
not
badass
well,
ship.
it looked like that Romulan mining ship from the from the Star Trek 2009 one. The
But what about the Dreadnought? Let's see.
That's a
I've
good
got a
point,
list
yeah.
of names over here. I'm not gonna lie. Dreadnought, which is like his little robotic dude. How about when he like threw cloaks off? I'm like, what is this supposed to be like? Grievous? I mean, what is going on
that's
here?
what I said last episode. Yeah, we were talking about that. And he straight up thunder whopped a gun out of both of his hands.
It's like Megatron. I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, that guy's gonna come down to a end that a douchebag deserves because that's what that robot character is there for. It's what Grievous is there for, is to be a douchebag. They're gonna, even though
they
he
have like
has
a real big
he-
boss
he-
fight, and then they're just going to take his head off on accident.
something like that. It'll be something stupid, yeah. But even though I talk shit about Grievous, but Grievous did have the baddest ass ship in Star Wars. So I love a lot of ships in Star Wars. Grievous had the baddest ass ship in Star Wars, hands down. Period. Looked like a fucking Mustang. Come on, man.
Oh, you're talking about his little cruiser? His
Yeah, dude,
little itty bitty one person.
Yeah, dude, it looked bad. It looked like a Mustang in the front and a 350Z in the back. Like, great combination. Like they had a baby together. It flies in space.
We
It's
have
crazy.
totally different outlooks on vehicles. It did not look like that to me.
I don't know, man.
It looked like the front of it was the loner from The Mask.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
we
Stu
definitely had different fans.
Baker.
I'm gonna buy the Lego one and build it, and you're gonna look at it and be like, "Damn, you! It is cool. It is cool." So
It's
now
very
that you don't know what it
phallic.
looks like. I didn't think about that. I guess it is kind of, yeah. Damn it, Ross. Anyway,
They did bring up who was it? Janeway that said parsec. Well,
I know. I
that's,
thought
what-
I was
that's, a,
like,
that's a measure of distance, right? Parsec.
It depends on who you ask.
Oh, okay. I thought because I remember one
'Cause it
time I
was-
had to look up what a parsec was. Just
Yeah,
'cause Star
It was
Wars.
always rumored to be time, but everyone's like, no, like it's distance. Like,
That's-
and then so that's why like it was such a feat. Like when they were talking about making Solo, they're like, well, how are we going to describe this? Because Solo was supposed to be, like homage to all of the quips and one-liners that we got from Han Solo and all of his people. So it was years that went by that everyone thought that it was speed. And then they were like, well, how do we make this make sense? Because technically speaking, it's distance.
Yeah, I think.
Which I mean, I
distance
thought they
only
did an
makes
okay
sense.
job. So
Yeah, it's like light year, like measure of distance, not time.
you want to talk about things that drive your head crazy. You're sitting there talking about time travel. Talk about space travel and all of the various different types. I don't even know if I could create a good list of the types of space travel because I don't know if you're caught up on Foundation, but I mean, I watched that last episode tonight, and I was like, "Geez, like."
I want to say something about
A whole
Foundation.
other thing.
I want to say something about that. I was caught up in like the storyline from like what the 400 years before, and then you come back to like I guess their present to get it where it's like the
400
first
years
couple of
before.
episodes. It's like the first few episodes. because it's like after I don't want to give too much away, but oh god,
I
the chick that had
don't know.
the one that worked with the guy, the main
Gal
guy.
or Gail, I guess is her
Yeah.
name.
And then once
Harry was
that
the guy's name.
storyline stopped and it went forward, I mean, maybe like 100 years, I don't know. But then it's like when you come
No,
back
it only
to,
went forward like almost 4
but it's,
decades, I think.
but it's when you come back to where that thing is like sitting there and you only have that one chick that can actually go up to it. Once it started with her storyline and all that, I'm like, oh, okay. Y'all have just like totally just, I got to stop for just a minute and like just get my bearings because.
So if once you wrap your head around that, you'll understand it. I think it's 30 something years is what they said. They jump forward in time. But if you haven't made it to the point to where Gail comes back,
I haven't got there yet.
okay, well, I'm not going to talk about it.
I can't because usually we kind of try to pick it up so we can like watch a couple episodes. Yeah. It's a really interesting show. I mean, it's very.
That's on Apple TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so let me tell you, I had my credit card out. I was ready to pay for a subscription for Apple TV the other day, and apparently, the TV in my bedroom broke, so I have an older TV in my bedroom now. It's a smart TV, but it's an old smart TV, like when smart TVs first came out. And apparently, I can't get Apple TV on this smart TV because apparently it has to be has to be made like after like 2018 or 19 to be able to carry Apple TV, which is the fucking stupidest thing I ever heard. It's fucking software. Like, come on, it's software.
Well, we've got the Apple TV like the box. We've
like-
got that, and we had to get a new one in order to work the
Shit, I
Disney
got like
Plus.
5 of them.
That's what I'm saying, to get the Disney Plus. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
It doesn't
you had
make
like
any
an
sense
old
to me.
one, like the
Like-
silver remote.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, because never really used it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got them all over, and like I streamed everything. I mean, I put my schoolwork up on there sometimes when I'm working out. That way I can like read while I'm working out.
There you go. Now I'll eventually get Apple TV. I just I need to get a new TV first. Once I get a new TV, then I will purchase Apple
Just
TV.
Buy
and
like a family size chips off
Dude.
of Amazon, and like you'll get a free Fire Stick with it.
Dude, I was telling my daughters today, and they were talking about it. I own I'm a member of every single streaming service you can pay for. Every
That's
single
when
one.
you tell them you're
Every
welcome,
single
that,
one of them, dude.
I deserve a thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And like it's crazy because they were asking about a show and like, well, it's on Apple. And I was like, well, you have, HBO Max and Hulu and NBC and all this stuff, everything that I pay for. Like my cable bill, I think is probably $10 less than what I would pay for to have like satellite. So in the end, I'm only saving like $10, but I have everything at my fingertips.
Let me
So,
tell
I
you,
do love that.
something. I was having the conversation, and I can't say the term best bang for the buck or phrase best bang for the buck, but I can tell you that the quality of shows on Apple TV is fantastic.
Oh, I have no doubt. I have no doubt at all. Yeah.
I finally got around to watching like the first episode it's a show, the short miniseries, well, not miniseries, I think it's only one season of a show called Defending Jacob.
Mhm.
And it is with Chris Evans. It's a whole drama.
Sold.
The kid gets framed for jail. I mean, like the whole thing is just crazy.
Yeah.
But it's so well shot.
Mhm.
The show itself, like the quality is just fantastic. Everything I told you, For All Mankind, fantastic show. Like would watch it constantly. I'm not gonna say nearly good enough things ever about Ted Lasso, but all of the shows are fantastic. And like I get on Netflix and I get like so lost. I keep watching like the same things over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's my issue that I'm falling into. I keep watching the same stuff. Like it doesn't matter what happens. At the end of the night, when I'm ready to go to bed, I'm turning on Big Bang Theory or Seinfeld or Office or something like that. I'm that's what I'm going to turn on because I don't have to watch it, but I want something in the background type thing. No, look,
I'll cut the streaming service talk right there. But I will tell you that like once you find a way to get it, like explore it and go on it, and like because the shows are fantastic.
And I'll probably end up getting it anyway. I have a Fire Stick, and I can still get it on my phones and my tablets and everything else, my computer, everything else. So it'd just be the one TV I can, screencast it if I want to. But look, I jokingly talk shit about Apple, but I know that Apple and everything they put out is top of the line stuff. Like you either have to have an Apple phone or a Samsung phone, and that's the top of the line. Whatever you're going to get, that's it. Period. It's just what you prefer. They're both really good as far as that goes. But I know that Apple puts out a really good product. The last 3 times I've gone to upgrade my phone, I've gone in with the intention of buying an iPhone, and I've walked out with a note.
With your case that you
With the
purchased
note.
already for some
That's right.
reason.
That's right. I have like 3 iPhone cases that I've already purchased that I'd never got to use. So yes, look, when I go to buy a new phone, I know what I'm getting when I walk in there. I say that, but so I buy the case and everything else before I even go in there, so I don't walk out of the store without the case. And then I've bought the case for iPhones the last few times and didn't walk out with an iPhone. So, and it's the salesman's fault. It really is. He's talked me out of it. Like every time the salesman talks me out of it. He's like, if you don't have iPhone before, you shouldn't have switched over now. If you've been with Android for 10 years, you should stay with Android. I'm like, oh, okay.
Salespeople, they talk shit. That's all it is.
I do love my note. I do love it.
We live in a world where you can do enough research. Like I got asked, I was having to answer a question today, and it was like, like how often do you follow like quick start guides? And I'm like, I don't follow quick start guides because I've read the whole entire like instruction manual before I purchased it. But you know why? Because I wanted to know that I was going to spend my money on something that was worth it.
Right.
I'm not going to turn around and like, I don't buy shit willy nilly and just like, oh, I hope it works. No.
Oh no, I agree with you, man. And I do the research. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do the research, man. That's the thing is like I know that Apple or Samsung, whatever those two put out, that's what you should have. Period. They're more expensive, but you're going to get what you pay for. Period. And you can't go wrong either way. It just depends on what you have a preference. I like having ringtones and a stylist and stuff like that. I know that eventually that ends up working out not good for me in the end, but every 2 years I'm going to upgrade anyway. So it doesn't really matter. But all right. So
there we were, Prodigy.
That's right. Doom Patrol, Prodigy, after we chased that huge fucking squirrel, which, by the way, dude, speaking of squirrels and hunting, there's some fucking, pulled my driveway today, and there was 2 fucking huge-ass whitetails in my fucking backyard. I can't wait. I'm going to set some corn out. I'm going to sit on top of my shed with a crossbow. Oh, it's going to be so good. I can't wait.
You going to watch Hawkeye when you do it?
No, Hawkeye doesn't use a crossbow. But all right, well, let's get on to the last part of the night then. We had the season finale of Stargirl. We've had 3 of the last 4 weeks we've had season finales. We've been kind of disappointed with a couple of them, I think, or at least underwhelmed, I guess you would say. Sarah, I'll start with you. Were you
Lower Decks? I was like, which one? What was the other one?
Were you impressed with this episode or the finale of this series, of this season? Not series, it's still coming back.
I think out of all the episodes, and even after my tirade for the other one, I think this is the most CW of all the episodes. I mean, it was just.
Yes, thank you.
What is going on here?
It hit all the CW mark. It hit all the CW marks. Everything that a Green Arrow show does. You've got to have a really good fight scene with everybody fighting somebody different in the middle of the episode, and then everybody coming together at the end to defeat the bad guy. That is the CW recipe. It works out after you've walked into all the heroes being defeated. Like they've got to be defeated, and then they've got to separately fight everybody else. And they got to come together and defeat the bad guy. That is the CW recipe. Apparently, for like 20 years, it's worked for them. So, I think the Stargirl's falling into that, though. Well, I mean, dude, CW's been out for a long time.
As much of a big bad that Eclipso was, or whatever, I mean,
he went down pretty easily, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, you've got to find the light. Find it, Courtney. You can do it. At that point, I'm thinking, okay, I get it. But oh dear Lord, seriously?
But I don't want it.
No. It's like, can it be a little bit more? I don't know. It was kind of cookie cutterish to me. It's just kind of like that.
Very CW, right?
Yeah.
Very, very CW. Yes. It was good. but predictable. Like I saw it coming a mile away. I said, you know what? I said Joel McHale's going to come in. He's going to save Stargirl. That's what's going to happen. It's going to happen because they've introduced him too many times this episode. This whole season was about passing the torch from the
And
old
then my thing
JSA
is,
to
it's
the new
like,
JSA.
okay,
You know?
you see him throughout the whatever, and they're like, oh, by the way, now I'm gonna come back and say, oh, I'm Sylvester. The hell, dude.
I hope that
That was my daddy's home comment. Like he comes back mystically and just
Yeah. So okay, now that makes more sense. Now that's what you meant when you said that. When you said daddy's home, I was like, what the hell is he talking about? You know?
Just wait for it.
I was like,
So-
I know it was vague, but I was like, I probably shouldn't even say that.
Well,
just
do y'all
'cause I
think
don't
he's
wanna
going to be a
dickhead
bigger
and
part of
spoil
next?
anything.
Do you think he's going to be a bigger part of next season?
Yeah, he's sleeping in the basement, bro.
Right, but that doesn't mean they have to have him in every
he's
episode.
moved
He could be
into
in
the
like
basement.
he could
ain't
be in
sleeping
like
the basement.
10 total minutes of the episode of the season, like he was this year. You know, because he was there the whole time this year in the season. So
And what the hell with Grundy?
Holy Grundy.
Holy Grundy, he'll be back. Grundy's undead.
And then the shadow he
You
pops
can't kill
up, which
the
I would
undead,
that didn't surprise
you know?
me because especially he's like, well, I've got a flair for the theatric.
Oh yeah, the shade. I was thrown off. Like I don't want to say I was thrown off by it, but I was not expecting him to return. I was like, live and let die. Be dead. But no, he was like, he put a giant dark gash in the sky, and I came right back through it. Like I was ready to go.
But that's the thing about too, because he's talking about with Grundy. It's like, oh, if you bury him a certain, he always comes back. I'm like,
he's undead. So like, yeah, you shot at the chest, not going to kill him.
What is the Matrix? Shot in the head. Come back from that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No. Damn it. What was I going to say about this one? Son of a bitch.
Rick doesn't know how to solder because that was a fake ass scene that should never existed in the very beginning. I don't know.
I didn't like the idea they were trying to get him to rebuild the hourglass anyway, which he didn't in this one.
It's a magic hourglass that has wires in it. When did it get wires in it?
Magic with solder, brother. That happens, Oh, how about
this?
It's
not sand either. It's probably cocaine.
Yeah. How about this? How are Beth's parents going to die arguing in that room? There was no
because
threat.
They're boring.
There was no threat for them. There was nothing. They're not violent. Like they were just debating with their fake child about what was going on. How are they going to die? Like I was like, that's not very believable.
Well, after all the build up for Eclipso, and then like I said for this episode, it said some really dumb shit. I'm just like,
yeah,
you the cheese factor came up. I mean, it was just like, what? I don't know. That was just.
Well, can I ask too, Jakeem, has he met Rick in a prior episode I forgot about as Our Man? Because he damn sure ran up to him and was like, Rick, are you okay? And I was like, have they ever met before? How does he know that's who he is? You
asked that question, and it actually brings up a pretty good point that I don't care enough to remember, and that's kind of mean.
Okay,
but I kind of feel like that's a little. That's telling,
Yeah.
I want to remember because apparently Jakeem was in the first season and I just never caught it.
His name, they mentioned his name, and I think you saw him one time, like in passing, like they introduced the character, but that was it. And like if you knew that was Pink Lightning or what the fuck it is, that was
Thunderbolt.
Yeah, Thunderbolt. Yeah, that was who it was. It was everybody thought that it might have just been like an Easter egg just to drop the name in there. But it turned out to be the actual character, which is fine. It's a great job.
It gets you an engine when you need an engine. Jakeem, wish for an engine part.
How about this? How about instead of wishing for the engine part for the guy to fix it, you just wish for it
to be fixed.
Wish for it to be working. Like he was like, I'm so glad you wished for that engine part. Why'd you wish for the engine part? Why didn't you just wish for it to be working? Like that makes no sense at all.
Or electrocute Eclipso.
Yeah. You only have to do it once. Make sure he goes down and he dies.
How about kill Eclipso? That's my wish. Kill Eclipso. I don't have this JSA mindset of bad guys. Kill him. Or he's gonna kill me.
Zeke should be one of the corniest characters on this show, and he's not. And I feel like I could relate to Zeke more than anyone, to where he's just like, "Fuck it, I don't care. Let's put a chainsaw on this motherfucker and see what happens."
Yeah, that's the thing about it. He was just so like cool. Like, oh, okay.
I don't need to know why.
All right. right. It's okay.
I think
You
Zeke has a
that
constant
robot in his
buzz.
garage. I just want to let me tinker
And
with
maybe
it.
that's why I can relate to him, because I'm like, bro, you and
He's
me,
mastered the art of the constant buzz.
we need to be on that level together.
Okay, I called it. I think 2 weeks ago, or it might have been last week. I'm not sure. That, of course, the light not being bad was what was going to defeat Eclipso.
You did. I was wrong.
I don't like how they just telegraphed it, man. Like, they said it too many times. They made it seem like Cindy was going to be a character that was going, like, you thought she was going to be good, then you thought she was going to be bad. In the end, she was going to betray them, and she didn't, which surprised me. Like, she's going to be a big character next season, I think, along with Sportsmaster and Artemis and all that. Like, how do two people who broke out of jail buy a house?
Move in next door.
Like, how does that work? Like, how do you break out of prison and live in the same city in which you were arrested and are known for with your kid who still goes to the same school that she went to and buy a house in that neighborhood? How does that work?
It's funny.
CW.
That's what you bring up. I couldn't think. All I could think about was like, that's not the house that you go to get a cup of sugar from, because they're not those people.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of problems, what we're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, we are led to assume that they broke out of jail because they did it once.
No, they said it.
And they mystically went right back in. Well, okay. Well,
They said it at the
at
end.
that
Whenever
point,
they
I
showed up at the end, they were like, she
completely
broke out of
tuned
jail again. I was like, wow, okay.
Well, you know,
Is it
it's
like a revolving
like a
door to this
hotel.
prison? I mean,
Yeah. You go
Apparently,
in, you
break
go
out of
out.
prison
You
there.
know,
Yeah.
sometimes they clean your room for you. I don't know. It seemed like an nth hour way to chisel in a bit for next season.
Yeah,
You know,
that's what
like,
they're doing. Set up for next season. Well, next season is named Frenemies, right? That's the name of the next season. Is
I hope that's
yeah,
not
it is.
true.
It is. I
I
looked it up.
swear
It
I hope
is.
that's not true.
It is. It came at the end of this episode. It said Frenemies at the
Yeah.
bottom, and then I looked it up, and yeah, it's this name of the next series. This season was Summer School. Next season is Frenemies,
I
which
was
brings
not a
up
fan of
the
summer
ending.
school shit.
Yeah, which, by the way, it's named Summer School.
Teenagers.
You see her in
Teenagers.
for like 5 minutes of the first episode, then no more Summer School the rest of the year. Okay. But bringing that up, Frenemies, what do y'all think about that? Do you know the character at the end that was there? Like, did y'all see after the credits went out, there was an end scene that showed the big bad for next season? Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know that character?
That is, was it Mr. Bones?
Mr. Bones, yes.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know the character. I had to look it up because I was like, who the hell is that? Apparently, this guy is a guy with translucent skin and
Ugh.
flesh. So while he looks like a skeleton, he actually has skin and flesh around that is translucent. You can't see it. So we don't know how big this guy is. We don't know what he actually looks like. Do you think he's the big bad for next season? And the only reason I ask this is because they laid it on really thick with Jade's brother, who's Obsidian. Okay? Obsidian has powers over shadows, very much like Shade. They introduced Shade at the end of the season to be a character that's going to play in next season for sure, which I like him. He's a good guy, but he's definitely going to be in next season. They also played out the ending with Mr. Bones and the nurse.
Felix nurse.
The nurse was a nurse at the hospital or the place that her brother's being kept at.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole Shade thing is going to come into light. Obsidian's a good guy. Is Shade and Mr. Bones our bad guy for the next season? Or is Shade going to stay a good guy? Like, I don't know where they're going to go with this. Like, is he going to help Obsidian learn how to control his powers and use his powers? Because they're not the same, but they're very similar.
Until the very last episode, or like the second to last episode.
He's going to be
what they're
fast
going to do
enough
is
then.
they're going to take they're going to take Mr.
fast
Bones and
enough then.
Obsidian, and they're going to use Obsidian as a weapon, and they're going to weaponize them to destroy the other ones. The next thing you know, blah 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 blah.
You called it. I think you called it, man. I think you just laid out next season. Exactly.
Oh, we don't need to watch it.
Well, it's falling right into that third season of a CW show where you start to be like, do I really want to watch this anymore? Like, I can tell you what's going to happen. I could probably write this better than they could. Like, it's falling kind of into that. I think, I don't know. I don't want to say anything about CW because I've watched a lot of CW shows, but it seems like it's following that trope, I know I talked to Nathan about it, and he was like, "Yeah, he's like, I really like season 1. I started watching season 2, and I kind of fell off it. I feel like the way it's going that I might start to fall off sometime mid season 3 if it doesn't
I think
really
we're
pick
gonna have
up.
to take a vote.
Yeah,
I
because
think we're gonna have to take a vote on, you know what, we can talk about this show, but like after it's already been out and we binged the whole entire thing.
right, not
I'm
something we
not
want to cover
sure.
weekly. I get you.
I'm not sure it gives it it lends itself very well to like a weekly description.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
And I don't want to take anything. I can't say that honestly. I don't want to speak negative about it. The first season was really good, and I know that we can discuss the whole CW thing constantly about the first season of things being very good. I mean, I thought the first few episodes or seasons of Green Arrow were really good, but I binged like the first 4 or 5 seasons of that show.
Yeah.
Flash, I'm pretty sure I binged too. I caught on the rest of all like way too late. But man, like when I caught up, I don't know if the fact that you could just get through the week to week stuff and just push on and like, hey, just give me the story. Just come on. Like I could eat a whole 5-course meal, just put it all in front of me and let me have it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can do this week to week.
Yeah.
Titans I could watch week to week. The problem is they just didn't finish the way that they should have.
Right.
And I'm not sure that, if Stargirl's not going to bring more to the table, which, I'd get it, the whole season was supposed to be passing the torch. I mean, the last episode was literally Pat fighting Pat and Black Cat fighting Black Cat. And I mean, thank God someone's going to get a new costume, hopefully.
I hope. God, I hope so.
We had so much that was just like, I could have just went right through this whole entire thing. I literally fast forward through parts of the show and not even need it, but just to get to the end. Because I mean, watching like the destruction of Stripe, and then like the rebuilding, like that takes like 8 episodes, and you're like, I don't understand what's going on.
Right.
Now
Pat,
the kid knows electrical
job,
engineering.
Right? Yeah, this is your job, right? It's what you do all day. So.
Which I will tell you, the scene at the end when actually, before I get to that, when Eclipso starts climbing the building.
Oh God, what horrible! Oh my God.
Whew.
Yes.
Yes.
Horrible.
I don't know what was going on.
Horrible looking. Yes. Yeah, I couldn't stand that. That was what I was talking about with both these shows this week. Doom Patrol and this, they get Fs on the production of the animated stuff or the computer graphics because it's just
I skipped
horrible.
over it when we were talking about Prodigy, but there was a couple scenes in Prodigy to where the lines did not match up with the mouth, and I mean, like,
so you had that too? I thought it was my TV.
Totally.
When Janeway was talking.
No. Oh,
was
yeah.
it when Janeway
happened
was talking?
Twice in that show.
Okay, cool. Because I thought that was my TV. I was like, oh, my TV's messed up. It's behind in the dialogue.
I'm
but
pretty
I guess
sure
that was the way it was.
They
okay.
the animation because they didn't know what lines that she was going to deliver, which ones they were going to choose.
Okay.
But for this show, no, Eclipso climbing. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it looks pretty horrible.
This is horrible. But then I actually thought, so when Stripe rolled in and, like took him off the top, I was actually thinking, because I thought the color was green. I thought that was going to be Ginny, trying to like conjure up some sort of Green Lantern vehicle or something. I was totally not right on that. Maybe just because I turned my head after the Eclipso, or maybe I was just hanging it. And I was like, no.
What a wasted character with Ginny. Goodness gracious.
I know.
What a wasted character. Well, I think she's going to be a big part of next season. Like I said, I think Obsidian and Shade and her are going to be a huge part of next season, and Mr. Bones.
I can't think of anything but Mr. Jones. Every time I hear the name.
Yeah. And by the way, that looked horrible too. That looked horrible. It is not that hard to do a CGI skull that can talk a little bit. I've seen it happen 1,000 times. It looked horrible. Like, I seriously thought something was wrong with my TV. Between the dialogue and the way the graphics looked on this and Doom Patrol, I was like, man, what's wrong with my damn TV? There's no way they put this out there as the final product. But they did.
Yep.
It's like,
Yes, they did.
Okay. Well, yeah. So Stargirl, excited for. I want to see Joel McHale next season more because that's my man crush. I like Joel McHale. I want to see him as a superhero.
That was
I
the
think
other half of the Daddy's Home comment.
right. Yeah. Um, I didn't like the ending how they defeat Eclipso. Like, okay, I get it. It's cool that um, he's all four of them come together and they use their powers to defeat him. Whatever. You know what you want to get? I want to give me? Give me the season 2 crossover of Stargirl. I think it was, or not Stargirl, Supergirl. I think it was season 2 Supergirl. Whatever, it was the Planet X one where all the superheroes fight Metallo. I don't care what anybody says. That is one of the baddest ass superhero team up fights I've ever fucking seen because they all fight and they're all fighting separately. And at the very end, they all come together and the camera's panning around and it's all characters from all different directions and they're all hitting Metallo at the same time. That's the way they should have ended this rather than a big group of people walking up to him and be like, hey, here you go. Like, I didn't like the way they did that. But if you haven't watched that crossover with the Planet X, I'm pretty sure it's when it was Planet X, where they defeat Metallo. That's one of the baddest ass team up superhero versus villain scenes I've ever fucking seen. Like, I remember seeing that and getting fucking goosebumps. I was so excited about it, but that's the way that kind of stuff needs to be done. They did not do a good job with that in this episode. I did not like 15 people walking up to him while he's laying on stairs and just blasting him. It's like, oh, come on, man. Like, this guy's better than that. He's Ivan Ooze. I get that, but he's better than that.
Yeah. It felt like A Knight's Tale. You've been weighed. You've been measured.
Yeah. I get that. But yeah, I mean, all in all, of course, there's things about the show I didn't like. There's things about the show that I loved. It is getting very CW-ish. I think that whenever season 3 comes out next year, we need to watch a couple episodes and decide, is this something we really want to commit to weekly? And then maybe we'll just binge it and watch the whole thing because it's getting very, very CW-ish. And I hate that.
Why don't we wait like 3 or 4 years for when they're not in high school and they're like in their early 20s and they want to be superheroes, but they can't afford it because they need to eat.
Hear that because the girl who plays Courtney is like 27 and she's playing a high school kid, even though she looks the role.
No.
She looks the role, but she's like 27, which is crazy. She's 27. She looks 16, but
it's crazy because she has like the last name Basinger. What was the girl's name from?
I just type in Stargirl main character and it's Courtney Stargirl, and then look it up like that. Google.
So. No, I was thinking of 89 Batman. What was the main girl's name?
Oh, Kim Basinger.
Yeah, there you go. And so I thought that they might have been related. I don't think they are, though.
It's possible, I guess, age-wise, but yeah. Well, was there anything else y'all want to say about Stargirl? Last show of the night. We're good? Okay. Well, I say we go ahead and put a bow on this one and wrap it up. I got to get up in 4.5 hours. So, and I had about an hour and a half sleep last night. So that'll be about 5 or almost 6 hours of sleep for 2 days. Yeah, I'll be right there. The Army taught me how to live off 3 hours of sleep a night. I'm good with that. So 3 hours of sleep a night, I'm good with that. So, well, I'm not good with that, but I can survive. Let's put it that way. All right, well, cool. Let's go ahead and get out of here then. If there's nothing else y'all want to say. Ross, where can they find you at, man?
Right.
Good deal. You got any questions for Ross? Seriously, anybody's out there? I know I've had a lot of comments from people talking to me about how they like you on the show, man. You're a great addition to it. We love having you on. You're a part of the show, obviously. Anybody else who wants to talk to Ross, hit me up. I'll relay messages to him. So there you go. Sarah, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at My Lady Kitten. You can also find me. I might pop up on other social medias as well, but usually Twitter.
I see you on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't put a video up lately, so I like to
send videos. You stalk her on TikTok.
But no, then I might pop up on your other little podcast talking about my lovely, wonderful kitties. So yeah.
How is your Damn It doll doing?
Oh, I have to leave it up there on the mantle. I can't. My son, he's like, why aren't you using it? I said, son, I'm gonna use it for like when we're actually winning. So if you do something stupid, I can smack it around just like maybe one time, but not tear it apart and rip every single stitch out of it. So
But it doesn't wear number 16, right?
Do what?
It doesn't wear number 16, right?
No, it doesn't.
And that's your boy's number? Yeah.
Yes,
So you don't want your damn it doll to wear the guy you love. So
well, 22. McCaffrey's coming back. We'll see how long. So maybe
I have my thoughts on McCaffrey. Y'all go ahead and tune this D3 Panthers podcast. I love this guy, but at the same time,
yeah,
you
can't
put all of your eggs in the same basket.
Tune in and see. That's right. Tune in and see.
Yeah, Home Slice he can't carry the ball and the whole team at the same time.
Well, you can't play 6 games a year and expect to be, the top guy. So we'll talk about that later. That's my Sunday and Tuesday show.
But you can find me there in the chat room every now and again too. So it all depends on how mad I am.
If the game goes bad, I might be able to talk her into join the post game show with me on the game go bad. So
I've done it before.
Yes, yeah.
Patriots this week, just beat them down.
And you know what? The Patriots to me aren't even the big bads anymore. I don't even care.
They're not, but they can easily beat us if they wanted to.
The downside is when you put that arm in our conference, it tends to ruin a few more things.
That's true. Very, very true.
Well, at least we did get the one win. There's 2 wins every season I've got to have, and that's got to be.
We are on par with. We are better than the not the Cardinals, the Chiefs right now. So, or we're on par with them. So,
yeah, that's a dumpster fire right there too. So,
concussion protocol, right? I think he's out.
All right. Well, you can find me at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter. Check me out. It's my personal handle. I try to get on and check at least once a day. If it's a good day, sometimes a few more times. But at SCS Podcast 1 is the show handle. Send me a message if you want to talk about something, you want a topic you want us to cover. If you want to be on the show, hit me up. We're here every Friday, hanging out. Sometimes there's more people on, but usually, these two are my steadies. Nathan's going to be back soon, I'm hoping. He's getting through the newborn baby stages. So took a little time off. Hopefully Nathan's going to be back soon. But, man, we've got some fantastic stuff to talk about coming up. We've got some great people to talk about it. So if you haven't checked the show out, of course, because I'm promoting it and I'm on the show and I created it, I'd recommend it. It's a good show to check out. It's really fun. But no, seriously, thank you all for being on. Thank everybody for listening. Tell a friend, give us a like, give us a review. We like all that stuff. It helps the algorithms on YouTube and podcast catchers and all that good stuff. So just help us out a little bit. So got any questions, let us know. And until next week, keep pounding.
Later.